television.
On October 9th comes the true story of a rivalry.
It's a good day, gentlemen. It's a good day to think about responsibility. It's a good day to ask yourself if you're willing to accept the responsibility you have to protect this team and this school and this town.
A rivalry which not only brings renewed hope of a championship to the victors, but also much more.
Gentlemen, the hopes and dreams of an entire town are riding on your shoulders. You may never matter more than you do right now. It's time.
Recent history has displayed Oklahoma's dominance over Texas. 4 straight victories, 4 consecutive nightmares. But how will this season's drama unfold?
Make no mistake about it, gentlemen. We are in the business of winning.
Can the Longhorns finally make a statement in the Red River Shootout? Or will the Sooners again hold the upper hand in the quest for a title?
Can you give me a great effort and just a little bit more? Can we be perfect?
So let's take care of it! This is no movie, but it is made for TV. Here at the State Fair of Texas, the Sooner fans and the Longhorn fans are ready to go head-to-head for the 99th time here at the Cotton Bowl. John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor, as we take our act on the road. This game is so important. So many people talk about, well, I want to play off, I want to play off. Guess what? We have one. It starts right here today. Texas needs a big win.
Ooh, baby, John, the pressure is on Texas today. And for them to get the win, they have to be physical. They have to get it done up front and right now. One of the guys helping them to be able to do that is Cedric Benson, the nation's leading rusher, 185 yards per game. They got to come out and feed that big horse the ball. It gets done today with Texas in the running game.
Big guy's ready to go.
Yeah.
And he just took Texas, by the way. Hey, let me tell you about Oklahoma. How does Oklahoma continue the dominance? They must run the football. Adrian Peterson out of Texas. They lost the recruit. He went to OU. He's really good. And when you talk about Adrian Peterson, they've got to run the ball or else Jason White usually struggles. No touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year in those 2 games where they lost because they just couldn't run the ball.
This is game 1 of our doubleheader as well. We have games at 3:30, including USC against Cal. Bevo is ready. Are you? We're coming back after this.
The Ford pregame, brought to you by the next Ford Super Duty. Smarter, stronger, tougher. The next Super Duty, built Ford tough. We'll be back after this message and a word from our...
Texas versus Oklahoma. Through the years, this Red River rivalry has helped define what college football is all about. The pageantry, the tradition, the competition. The coaches and players who have made their mark in this game reads like a who's who of the sport. Men whose performances on the field have made them legends for generations to come. Today, a new generation of men look to make their own mark between the hashes of the Cotton Bowl. The stage is set, the lines drawn. 2 top 5 teams collide. Conference and national title implications abound. For those who answer the call to greatness, a place in history surely awaits. They're 4-0. They're ranked number 5 in the country. This is Texas. They are the visiting team as we welcome you to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT from the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The unbeaten Longhorns and the number 2 team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners, who have won this battle the last 4 times. What a scene. Maybe one of the best anywhere in sport. Half crimson, half burnt orange, a sold-out Cotton Bowl. Welcome to Dallas, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. This is the 99th version of the Red River Shootout. How important is it? Well, if you want to win a national championship, you better get to the Big 12 championship. If you want to get there, you better win this one. That's how important it is. Texas has been unable, Bob, to do that the last 4 years. Oklahoma's had their number a little bit. Pressure on the Longhorns. If they're to snap the losing skid, how do they do it?
Well, Mac Brown says we've been getting ready for this game since March. We've gotten tougher and we've gotten more physical. And how do you do that? Well, you run the football. They run the football by 2 guys have to play well today. They've committed to quarterback Vince Young. He almost ran for 1,000 yards last year. And then Cedric Benson, he's got to play big today. This team leads the nation in rushing the ball. That's how you get more physical.
Oklahoma good at defending the run, and they know they're going to have to do that today. They come in as the #2 team, the higher-ranked team for the 4th straight year. They've got that Bob Stoops swagger, and why shouldn't they? They've got all kinds of talent back, including last year's Heisman Trophy winner.
Well, you're right. They've got 18 starters back from a team that played in the national championship game, including Jason White. 5 offensive linemen are back, and his top 5 wide receivers are back. This may be their last best chance at a national championship because 16 seniors graduate, so this may be not only a best chance to beat Texas, but they may have something bigger in mind down the road.
They talk in terms of national championships. They know they've got to go through Texas to get there. Swanee will talk about the Oklahoma backfield when we come back. Massive humanity taking his life in his own hands. The 3rd member of our team, Lynn Swan. Swanee.
Thank you, Brad. The big question at the start of this ball game is who will start at running back for Oklahoma. It could be Kewan Jones or it could be Adrian Peterson. And why not Peterson? Because Peterson has been nothing short of spectacular. He even garnered the cover of Sports Illustrated this week. And he's big, he's strong, he's fast, elusive, but the one skill set he doesn't have is experience, and that's where Kewan Jones comes in. He's played in this big ball game, he understands the pressure, and he can pick up the blitz. I talked to the offensive coordinator, the running backs coach, and Bob Stoops. They say Kewan Jones will start for them, but look for Adrian Peterson to come in this ball game earlier. And maybe by the end of the ball game, we'll find out if Adrian is better than Cedric. Brad?
All right, Swanee. We've had a little bit of light rain this morning. Temperature in the mid-60s. We could have more rain before it's over. But right now, it's a fast track. And it's the 27th time in the 99-year history of this game that both teams are undefeated. Texas won the toss and deferred. They'll kick to Oklahoma. And it's Mark Bradley, 5 yards deep. He'll bring it for the Sooners. Only got to about the 16-yard line.
That's confidence when you take that ball 5 yards in and run it out.
So that's where the Oklahoma offense will go to work. Led by their Heisman Trophy quarterback of a year ago, Jason White, who threw 40 touchdown passes last year. Only 10 interceptions. His worst 2 games were the last 2 of the season, the Big 12 title game and the BCS title game. There's his numbers, and they're fairly comparable to last year.
Yeah, but not throwing as much because they don't have to throw as much. More balance with the running game.
As Lynn said, Kewan Jones in the backfield with Runnels the fullback, and he'll get the call on 1st down. And he's got an opening. And Kewan wants to keep his job and stay out there. And he picks up 8 yards on the first carry of the ball game behind these big eaters up front. Sims, Shishan, Carter Joseph, and Jamal Brown, maybe the best right tackle in football. Kewan starts. Runnels his lead man. Moses is the tight end. The wide receivers, as Bob said, they can all kill you. Clayton, one of the best in college football. Wilson, Peoples, and Brandon Jones.
The guy you didn't see there was Mark Bradley. He's another wide receiver that comes in. They've got 5 guys that can play.
They'll work from the shotgun on 2nd and short, and they come up throwing, and it got a 1st down, and it got to Travis Wilson, and he broke a tackle, skated up the sideline, and got it to about the 33-yard line. So first down of the ball game against this Texas defense. Up front, Robinson, Dibbles, Rod Wright back from an injury, and Tim Crowder. The linebackers look like this: Hall, Harris, and one of the best in all of football in Derek Johnson. And the secondary is a good one: Griffin, Huff, Yeager, and Terrell Brown. 1st down, Oklahoma. The Sooners at their own 33-yard line. High backfield again with Kewan Jones, the tailback. Play action on a bootleg, and on the throw, and it's out to Runnels, the fullback, and he's going to be close to another 1st down.
Yeah, this is something that Oklahoma did not have in their arsenal the last 2 years because Jason White couldn't get outside the pocket. The little bootleg means that his knees are much better. No braces on the knees this year.
Of course, the left knee in 01, the right knee in 02, and as you can look, no braces anymore. Stronger than he's been in a long, long time. And obviously has the confidence of the season he had a year ago behind him for head coach Bob Stoops in his 6th year and looking for his 60th win in Norman. And in this case, he's looking for it in Dallas. 1st and 10, Oklahoma. That's Clayton in motion. Here's the stretch play to Kewan Jones. And he has met in the hole. Only about a yard gain. Roderick Wright in on the tackle. Let's get an update. Let's go to New York. Sam has posted big game in the Big Ten. An even bigger game here in the Big 12. 2nd down and 8. High snap. White throws it out to Clayton. He's got a blocker in front of him. Got across midfield and then got tattooed as he crossed midfield by Cedric Griffin. A pickup of 6. It'll bring up the first 3rd down of the ball game.
Brad, the opening drive of any game is big, but I think in this game, because Oklahoma has dominated this game in the last 4 years, and they've scored early, Texas wants to stop them early, and I think that's a key drive, the opening drive of the game.
So obviously the biggest 3rd down, the only 3rd down so far here in the first 3 minutes. 2 tight ends set for the Sooners. Play action. White wants to loft one out there and in and out of the hands and intercepted. Picked off. Texas gets the stop. Michael Huff coming the other way. And the Longhorns have the ball. The old tip drill there for Michael Huff. Willie Roberts got a hand on it, but not enough of a hand.
Well, he had it, and he had the receiver open. Here's the tight end. Watch as he's going to come down after a play fake. Oklahoma has been outstanding. Right there, he was open. They've been outstanding on 3rd down conversions. That time he had it. They don't go to their tight end that often.
Cedric Benson got 2 on the first carry for Texas as they come out under their sophomore quarterback Vince Young, who played a good portion of this game last year, and ever since that time he's been the starter. Dangerous probably more as a runner than a passer.
I think you're right, and the thing that he brings that I think that might scare a little bit of Oklahoma is this mobility. A quarterback with mobility has done very well in past against this Oklahoma defense.
Both wide receivers to the right, but it's Benson straight up the middle again. He got cut down, hit the backfield. Falls across the 50 to the 49. Lance Mitchell made the stop. Up front, the big eaters for Texas are Blaylock and Allen, Glenn, Studdard, and Scott. The backs and receivers, we've talked about Cedric Benson. He's carried it twice. Will Matthews is fullback. Thomas, one of 2 tight ends that'll play a lot. Carter and Jeffrey are the wide receivers. The other tight end is Bo Scaife, and he's been around 6 years.
Yeah, if there's a weakness on this offense, they graduated their top 3 wide receivers. They're young wide receivers. They're young, and they're not quite up to speed with the ones from Oklahoma.
3rd down and 4. That's Thomas, the tight end, in motion. Vince Young wants to throw. Does, and it's knocked down by Lance Mitchell. And a penalty marker down. They were going to Bo Scaife, the tight end, and it looks like Lance got there a little bit too early.
Well, their tight ends are definitely their go-to guys because of the receivers. That'll be a 1st down. As you mentioned, both Thomas and Scaife are guys that they want to go to.
Just had that back arm, I think, hooked around him a little bit.
The left arm was good. It was the right arm that got in trouble.
So the first down for Texas is at the Oklahoma 45, courtesy of a penalty. They split the tight end out to the top of your screen, both wideouts to the near side, and it's Young out of his shotgun on the give. He'll keep it this time. Faked it to Benson, and now here he is in the open field. And that's what Bob was talking about, the mobility of Vince Young. He rips off a 14-yard gallop and out of bounds.
Benson, he faked it to Benson, and Benson just got hammered. I don't know if you're going to see Benson, and the linebacker hits him.
Bang, right there.
Go back to the Benson go back and said, well, that was a good run. And Benson goes, yeah, you should have seen what I did for you.
Down to the 31. Texas has something going after the Michael Huff interception. 1st down from the gun. This time Benson does get the call, and he's stopped for no gain. Oklahoma defensively, they are 6th in the country against the rush. Up front, Jackson and Cody, 2 of the better defensive ends. They're not as strong in the middle with Magruder and Pendleton as they have been in past seasons. Alexander and Ingram. Mitchell is back from the knee injury. He's the leader in the middle. Antonio Perkins, Dante Nicholson, Rodney Poole, and Eric Massey is a very excellent secondary.
Yeah, the offense, there's defensive coordinator Venables. The offense for Oklahoma is good. The special teams are as good as ever. The defense is not quite as good as it has been in years past.
Young, play fake, wants to throw behind his intended receiver, the tight end, and he paid the price. Scaife took a shot from Rodney Poole. Yeah. And they're already hitting out there, Grease.
Yeah, well, that's always the case in this game. And that's why Mack Brown told us, he says, we wanted to be more physical. But the thing he also told us, he says, you know, this is a blue-collar offense. We're going to run a lot. See, there's the offense. That's the passing game that's not quite as sharp. That's why they need to run the football. Vince Young is not an experienced passer. He throws the ball down the field better than he does those short ones.
And we're going to have a timeout. We'll take one as well. 9 minutes, 53 seconds as Oklahoma takes a timeout here in the first quarter. Texas got an interception, the first big play of the ball game, and we'll see if they can capitalize on third down when we come back.
Get into the game now with Enhanced TV at ESPN.com and interact for your chance to win a premium SUV.
Texas, after the interception, has a 3rd and 10. Bob, you wonder if they'll play it conservatively here and maybe a quarterback draw, or will they try to pick it up?
It's a blue collar, and they're not going to do what you want them to do. This is not their strength, picking up 3rd and longs.
There's the quarterback keeper, and he slips and goes down. He actually lost yardage, and that probably took him out of field goal range. Dante Nicholson with a tackle from the secondary.
I think if they would have picked up like 4 or 5 yards, Mack Brown may have gone for it on 4th and 5. I think now they may just punt it away.
It was going to be a quarterback draw. Then he saw the block from Benson and tried to get around, and Nicholson will have none of it.
It was a quarterback draw sweep, and now they're just going to punt it and try to get Oklahoma backed up in their own territory.
Richmond McGee is the punter. That guy is dangerous. Antonio Perkins already has 8 punt returns for touchdowns in his career. You know they don't want him to touch it. And McGee will try to get this thing away from him. High kick. Perkins gets out of the way, but it bounces inside the 5. Great kick, great coverage.
Did he get a good bounce on that one?
He sure did.
I thought he had kicked it too far. It hit on the 2-yard line with a little backspin.
So now Oklahoma deep in its own territory at the 4 in an important game. How important, we asked Bob Stoops, is this game?
This is another game and a stepping stone to achieving a championship. Beating Texas isn't is a part of our season. That's it. It's a part and a step towards a championship, and that's what we're after, and Big 12 championships and national championships. And so each year it's a building block and a step towards that.
And I think sometimes that's what separates Bob Stoops from some other coaches. Adrian Peterson, the freshman, in the clear, across the 20, down the sideline. Trying to break a tackle. He's all the way to the 48-yard line. Michael Huff saved a touchdown, and there's the guy they call AD, because he can run all day. 44 yards the first time he touches it. I guess he's not overwhelmed by the Cotton Bowl.
I guess not. The top of your screen, this is just poor. There's no force on the outside. Everybody went to the inside, and Peterson just bounced it outside. That was just very poor defense. Harris, the middle linebacker, got caught inside on the bounce out.
That ties the longest run allowed by Texas so far this year. First down, now great field position, end around now coming. Mark Clayton trying to find some room to run, and Texas waiting for him. He lost a yard. Brian Robinson kept his ground, and he helped force that play.
I'm going to go back to what Bob Stoops was talking about in that little sound clip that we just played. I think having won the last 4 games, he can afford to look at this game and then bounce ahead down the road. This is a stepping stone to maybe a national championship. I don't think Mack Brown has that luxury. Losing 4 games, he's got a point to this one.
Second down at 11. They toss it to Peterson. He got a nice block from Bradley, and looking for the corner, breaks a tackle, keep his feet, and the ball came loose at the end of the run. Let's see now.
couldn't tell if it went out of bounds or not. They're not acting like it went out of bounds.
Field judge and the line judge are going to make this call. And apparently he was down at the end of the run.
Yeah, if there is no call, then it must be Oklahoma's ball.
They talk a lot about the talent of the wide receivers of Oklahoma, and they are talented as receivers, but one thing they do as good as anybody in the country, they will hit you. Watch the block from number 1 on the toss as Peterson comes this way.
Good point. Not only that, but Wilson gets in the way there. Tough to bring down. Looked like his knee was already down inside before he fumbled.
That's what they call, I think.
Yeah, it's down.
He's
there.
down.
But he is not easy to bring down. Peterson 6'2" and 210.
Here he comes again. There he goes again. First down and more. Knocked out of bounds and a flag for a late hit, I think, as he got to the 33-yard line. Picked up 10 yards on 3rd and short, and they'll probably pick up 15 more. It wasn't the biggest hit as they got to the sideline. This is the previous play.
He was down.
Both his knees were down before. That's the previous play.
His knee was down on the previous play.
Here's the call.
Offense.
So it's a holding call, not a late hit. And that'll make it 3rd down again. Back out at the 48-yard line.
A lot of the damage that Oklahoma is doing in the running game has been outside the tackles. And the offensive line doing a nice job, and Peterson bounced out a couple of times and did a very nice job of gaining yard. Texas has got to shore up their outside support.
So instead of first down at the 33, it's 3rd down and 6 back at the 48. Now let's see if White will throw here. They bring the tight end in motion. Has time, throws high and incomplete. Flag flies in from the secondary. Way back about 15 yards away from the play. So Hal Dowden, our referee, will give us an indication if this one's going against Texas. As you would expect with Vince Carter clapping his hands, that's going to be the call.
Holding on the defense. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So a holding goes right back the other way. Back-to-back holding penalties, one against each team. So this moves it to the 38-yard line. As I mentioned, the flag came in way back in the secondary. Bradley working against Cedric Griffin.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it came. The flag came from behind those guys.
He was the slot receiver, and the field judge back in the middle of the field behind the defense is looking only at the inside slot receiver, and he's the one that called it.
So now it's first down, Oklahoma. Remember, they were backed up inside their own 5, but Adrian Peterson on his first carry went 44 yards. And now here they are in Longhorn territory for the second time today at the 38. And they'll work out of the gun again. Kewan Jones flanking Jason White, who drops to throw. Fires near sides. Got his man. Lifted up and out of bounds. Incomplete.
Yeah, unlike the pro rule, when the receiver goes up and he's pushed out of bounds, he is out of bounds. Nothing like the pro rule was if you would have come down in bounds, it would have been a good catch.
Let's check in with Lynn.
Well, Bob and Brad, just a little subtlety in the ball game. I talked about it a little bit at the opening. You notice that in that first 3rd down situation, it was number 20, Kewan Jones, that came into the ball game. As well as Adrian Peterson has been playing, in passing situations, he is not as comfortable with pass protection. So when they're in the shotgun, 20 is going to be back on the quarterback side.
He's there right now.
And that's where the quarterback wants him too.
2nd and 10. He'll give it to him this time. Inside handoff, and he's cartwheeled for a pickup of about 2. Derek Johnson, the linebacker, with a hit. See the respect that the Texas defense has for Kewan Jones. Oklahoma's running game last year, they didn't have a two-headed weapon like Kewan Jones and Adrian Peterson. And that was part of their problem when it came down to nitty-gritty time at the end of the season.
Yeah, they're running it a lot better, not throwing it as well, but the total offense is better.
3rd down and 8. 4 wide receivers for White. Here comes a blitz. White steps up, took a hit. Almost intercepted again by Michael Huff. Had it in his hands and dropped it. And White took a big hit. Texas hasn't blitzed much this year, but they brought the heat that time, Bob.
They did. It was a blitz, and we were expecting some of this. Oklahoma said we haven't seen much blitzing. Here's a linebacker watching straight inside. We haven't seen much blitzing out of Texas, but we know it's coming. And Clayton does a nice job of preventing an interception, the second one for Huff.
Blake Ferguson now comes into punt. And Aaron Ross back deep. And he might take a penalty here. Now try to back up 5 yards. But of course, Texas has the opportunity to say, you know what, we decline. Just do it where you're standing right now.
You know what? I'd back him up with the history of Bob Stoops, knowing that he may do some gimmicks.
Yep.
I'd feel safe and just back him up.
All right, our official's mic is not working properly, but they'll walk it off. It's a delay of game. They back it up, as Bob said they should, back to the 41-yard line. Now that takes away. I don't know if he was going to run a fake punt on 4th and 7, but he's certainly not going to on 4th and 13.
Especially after you took a delay of game, right?
Exactly. So now Ferguson to kick. High spiral. See how this one lands inside the 5, but Oklahoma couldn't get Bradley down there to turn around.
That punt hit about the same spot as the other punt, but went on in the end zone.
Sooner fans all decked out in the upside-down horns. We're scoreless here in Dallas. For Broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. And from the 20-yard line, Texas will have it 1st and 10 as that punt went in the end zone. Longhorns get the football back. Barry Switzer, come on, Coach, I know it's early, but nothing to yawn about. Benson stopped for no gain again. So much like past seasons, at least so far, Cedric Benson has not been able to cut anything loose. He's got 4 carries and only 6 yards, and he has struggled against Oklahoma in the past.
And Magruder, one of those 2 inside defensive tackles that you said had to play well today, got around his man and got in there and made the play. They're missing Tommy Harris, the
Lombardi winner.
He won the Lombardi. I keep mixing all those things up.
Yeah.
And now they're also missing Dvorak. So there are 2 inside tackles from last year, 2 pretty good ones, had to be replaced.
2nd down and 10 from the eye. Play action. Young comes up throwing, gets it out, complete across the 25 to his fullback, Will Matthews. And Rodney Poole makes the tackle. As we mentioned, Mack Brown has beaten Bob Stoops before, but not in the last 4 years, and we talked to him about that pressure.
I don't feel like it's pressure. Pressure means your family's hungry. Pressure means somebody that you love is sick. But this is about pride, and I haven't felt really good about myself walking off this field for the last couple of years.
And Mack has taken all the pressure on his shoulders again this week, saying it's my fault. I haven't coached as well as Bob Stoops has. Here's Benson, 1st down, and then some, out to the 40-yard line. So he finally breaks one off, a 13-yard run. That's his best carry of the day.
3rd and medium. You're going to see Texas not putting the ball up. Here it is right here. He's just going to get the ball and run to the left side. They don't want to throw when you want them to throw. Watch this. Right through that opening. Nice job of blocking the left side of the offensive line.
So 1st down out at the 40. Cedric Benson again. Straight ahead, got 4, almost 5. We mentioned his games against Oklahoma has been his biggest struggles. He's only averaged 2.2 yards a carry in his previous matchups with the Sooners. So that was his longest run ever, the 13-yarder a couple of plays ago.
And if he were up here, he'd probably say there's a lot of running backs that struggle going against the Oklahoma defense.
We're under 4.5 minutes. A sold-out Cotton Bowl. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew. And the 99th version of the Red River Shootout. No score. 3rd down, a 2nd down and 5. Young now out to the 48. He'll be about 2 yards short. So another big 3rd down coming up. Rufus Alexander, the outside linebacker, made the stop. Young is 6'5", 225, and he can really run when he gets in the open field.
He can run. He's got a little bit of a quirky throwing motion. He drops it down and throws either 3/4 or sidearms. And it's surprising as much as he runs that in this conference anyway, he's only the 3rd most rushing quarterback.
And Bob mentioned earlier, but Reggie McNeil of A&M and Brad Smith of Missouri are the 2 quarterbacks that gave this Oklahoma defense fits in the past couple seasons. This is a first down run again. Cedric Benson, and now the Longhorn fans are coming to life.
The right side of that offensive line, Allen, Blaylock, Thomas, the tight end, do a nice job of just walling everybody off and allowing Benson to find a hole.
Second run for a first down on this drive for Benson. And he's got it down to the 46 of the Sooners. Thomas in motion. Young, the straight drop to throw. Wanted his tight end. Now he'll take off on his own. Gets it down inside the 40, down to the 39-yard line. Got 6 or 7 on the carry. ABC's Desperate Housewives is being called TV's best new series and a great new guilty pleasure. Don't miss an all-new Desperate Housewives Sunday at 9, 8 Central, only on ABC. Terry Hatcher's probably watching this game. It's big. It's a big game. What'd you think of Desperate Housewives?
I like that. We do all these promos, and then I go home and I say, well, what time is that on? And where is it? And then, so I found it.
It's not like the ladies in my neighborhood. I think. Second down along 3. Here comes a blitz, and down goes Young. Dan Cody just threw away the would-be blocker and comes up with a big hit.
He slides to the inside and just gets away from everybody. Here he is here, watches, he's going to slide to the inside. Moves inside, takes a hard, you know what that is? He's got the snap count down. Because when you move that quick and the ball gets snapped, now what Young has to do is vary his snap count. Go on some quick counts and go on some long counts. He's lucky he held on to that.
I was going to say, he is lucky he didn't fumble. Cody's 17th career sack forces a 3rd and 8. Young now on the move and throws incomplete, a one-hopper intended for Lima Swede. So another opportunity for Texas in Oklahoma territory comes up empty, courtesy of Dan Cody.
Now this is one thing that you're not going to have against this Oklahoma defense is a lot of time on 3rd down because they will come after you.
Antonio Perkins, there's the numbers I mentioned earlier. 8 career punt returns for touchdown, 3 of those in one game last year against UCLA.
I'd be surprised if he gets the return one in this game. This ball's got to be going left or right out of bounds.
Richmond McGee knows that. The punter, he kicks it a mile in the air, but it might be returnable. Nope, it's got to take the fair catch at the last second because Texas did a nice job getting down there. Only a 29-yard punt, but they kept him from returning it. A minute 36 remaining, first quarter. We're scoreless in the Cotton Bowl. Scoreless in Dallas with a minute 36 to go in the first quarter. And you can interact on enhanced TV right now at ESPN.com. Out come the Sooners. Not great field position with which to work. There's a guy that can get them some good field position in a hurry if they get it in his hands. Mark Clayton, who last year caught 83 passes for over 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. He's a big timer. Play action. Here's a throw, completes. And it's to Runnels, the fullback. He's a good receiver. And he's got it across the 20 out to about the 22-yard line.
An excellent receiver, Brad. That's his 23rd, 24th career catch. And he's got 4 touchdowns. This is a kid that can block and can receive. You know, that's the kind of fullbacks that the NFL is looking for right there.
Especially when they're almost 250. He stays in there as the front man for Adrian Peterson. On second down and a long 2. Here's the toss. Peterson tucks that ball away and sees a lot of white jerseys coming. Nice job by Aaron Harris, the middle linebacker. A loss to 5. Let's take a look at our Pontiac high performance drive summary. So far in the ball game, Oklahoma had to start at their own 16. They were intercepted, and then they had to start after a great punt of their own 4 and had to punt. And now they had to start this one at their own 15, and they've come up with a 3rd down and long 7.
I think that's key right there. All 3 Oklahoma possessions have started inside their 15, 16-yard line.
Kewan Jones, as Swanee said would happen in shotgun, comes back in to flank Jason White. 3rd down and long. Blitz coming. Pass is in and out of the hands of Mark Clayton, incomplete. Nice job defensively by Michael Huff again. Number 7's been around the football today, including an interception and another near interception.
Well, this Texas defense is doing well. They came into the game with only 3 sacks in the 4 games they played this year, but that's because they haven't been blitzing. Yep. They're getting after it today.
Oklahoma came in as the best 3rd down team in the Big 12, and they're 0 for 3 in 3rd down conversions today. Blake Ferguson might feel a little pressure here from the Longhorns. They should get great field position. Let's see if they try to come after the punter. And they got close. He got it out of there, though, and Harris has to let it bounce, but it's still going to be great field position again as the Longhorns are winning the battle of field position. Penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage on the far side. And it's against Oklahoma.
I think you decline that one.
I would say so.
We like it.
That's what Max says.
Yeah.
Illegal formation. Penalty is declined. 1st down, end of the 1st quarter.
That 1st down will indeed start the 2nd quarter. They won't have to switch too far on the ends. No score. The Sooners and the Longhorn fans in full force. Our presentation of college football continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television.
This is Big Texa talking to you. Welcome back to the 99th meeting between the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners. And now back to Brad, Bob, and Lynn.
All right, Big Tex. Thanks, fella. You know, he had a little bit of an extreme makeover body addition, I heard, over the offseason, and cost quite a bit of money. I don't know if it was just Botox or if they did a little bit of everything, but he looks dang good.
He does.
1st down at the 44. End around coming. Tony Jeffrey. Jeffrey got the corner, knocked out of bounds. And he'll go out after a pickup of about 8. Let's check in with Swanee. Swanee's is starting to rain out there.
Well, it's starting to rain a little bit sideways just as we came out of that break. A little heavier rain cloud came over. The rain started coming down. The wind picked up. A little concerned for a Texas team. You come out of the huddle, you think everything's okay. You might have a pass play call, and then you run right into just a little more wind, a little more bad conditions.
I used to hate that. We'd be in a commercial timeout when I was playing, and we had a pass on, and then it would start raining just as we broke the huddle. Skip this, get the commercial over. Let's go.
This time they go to Benson and fake the end around to Jeffrey, and it's going to be a loss of about a yard. A big 3rd down coming up after we check in one more time with Sam Ryan in New York against Michigan. On Showdown Saturday, the Gophers and the Wolverines in a big one.
Here they come.
Blitz from the corner coming, handoff inside. And a loss again on the play. Young was going to hand it off, kept it, and Oklahoma swallowed him up. Magruder inside and Bassey from the secondary.
You saw the 2 corners that were a bump and run slide in from the outside at the last minute. Oklahoma does that so well, but the Texas says we won't fool them with that. We're not going to throw the ball.
Perkins back deep.
Texas has gained 24 yards. This is hidden yards on the exchange of punts, and their average starting position has been like 24 yards better than Oklahoma's.
All of Texas punts have come from either midfield or even on the OU side of things. This one heading to the corner. Perkins trying to track it down, the over-the-shoulder catch. He'll take it at the 8. Not a lot of room to work. Texas does a nice job. He's swallowed up after about a 5-yard return.
It's a very good kick and a very good coverage. Get him over there in the corner and then let him try and return it.
So again, the battle of field position won by the Texas punter. Longhorn fans are loving it. We're still scoreless here in Dallas. That's just not something you wear every day. It's got to be a special game. Oklahoma from its own 13-yard line. Their average starting field position has been horrible. Jason White, quick throw out and incomplete. Jawan Rankins trying to find a handle and couldn't.
Just a poor throw by Jason White. You got to give your receiver a chance. He would have picked up 5 or 6 yards at least.
Jason White's only hit one of his last 6.
And he's normally a very good with his accuracy, coming in over 70% this year. 9 touchdowns, only 1 interception.
He bootlegs on 2nd and 10 and out complete. Close to the 20-yard line is Mark Clayton, but they won't let Clayton loose. Eric Hall does a nice job. Now Clayton comes up limping as he heads to the OU sideline.
I like that little sprint out. It's something new. If we take a look at Clayton, he looks to be all right. But I like that, getting the quarterback, especially Jason White, where in the past he was a sit and duck.
Right.
But now they can get him outside the pocket, causes more problems for the defensive coordinators.
Most of the total yardage came on the one run by Adrian Peterson. Only 39 passing for the Heisman Trophy winner. And you know that Derek Johnson and company are going to be hunting Sooners on this one. 3rd down and 4. White flushed from the pocket. Whoa, and knocked away from behind. Texas has it. And it's Derek Johnson's 7th forced fumble of the year.
He's done that. He did it last week. Knocked the ball loose on the same type of play. Running to the sideline. Got his arm in around the carrier and knocked the ball loose.
7 forced fumbles. Can you believe that? This is only the 5th game of the season. Watch this play.
This is something they worked on in practice. Watch him come around the back. That's just good coaching. Derek Johnson, Greg Robinson, the new defensive coordinators, trying to get him to be more aggressive. That's just a super play by an outstanding player.
That's one of the best defensive plays you'll ever see. And Bob said it. He did the same exact thing against Baylor last week that forced a turnover and gave the ball to Texas. He's done it here again today.
So he's got 7 forced fumbles in 5 games. 4.5 games.
His older brother, Dwight's about 6 years older, played at Baylor and then with the Philadelphia Eagles. He said the hardest time I used to have was when Derek was about 3 years old. We'd go to church. Mom was in the choir. She put me in charge of him. He said I couldn't keep him from climbing under the pews and all over the place.
He wasn't going to sit still.
He's been all over the place today, too. Here's a toss to Cedric Benson. Nice job defensively. Rodney Poole made the stop. A flag at the end of the play. Did they get a little face mask? They did. So Poole made a nice tackle, but he got a handful of face mask of Cedric Benson. And this one will be walked off against the Sooners.
Face mask. Get the defense. Repeat 2nd down.
Before we come back with a 2nd down in this scoreless game, Sam Ryan's got another update for Braylon Edwards, one of the best wide receivers in the country. We've got one of those here, too, in Clayton. Texas has something working. Cedric Benson, but he's going to be short of the 1st down.
Notice Vince Young went to the line of scrimmage and snapped the ball very quickly that time. Needs to vary the snap count so these defensive linebackers can't time their blitzes.
You know, Greg Davis told him that. Don't let guys like Cody come in and kill you. Change it up a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Here's a big 3rd down and a long yard. 11.5 to go. 2nd quarter, no score.
Look at all these guys up here.
Everybody stuffed up close. Benson, I think he got it. Didn't need much. Well, I don't know, maybe the spot's not going to be too great. As you watch the linesman trot in, I might have jumped the gun there.
It may not make any difference for Mack Brown because he may go for it on 4th down anyway.
I think they got to bring the chains out to look at this one.
he'll bring the sticks from the far side. We'll erase our broadband 1st and 10 and let those 2 orange markers that are thousands of years old tell us the story. Just the hook on the chain short.
Now he's got to make a decision.
Yep.
So he told us a couple days ago that we'll go for it a lot on 4th down.
They're 3 out of 5 on 4th down this year, but none in a game this big. 4th down and about 4 inches.
Their field goal kicker has missed his last three field goals, so may make a difference in that.
Yeah, well, you got a 6'5" quarterback. I think to jump over the pile is probably the right call, and Vince Young's got the 1st down. So the quarterback keeper, and he keeps the drive alive with this plunge.
When the quarterback goes over the top like that, he's open game. He's a free shot at those linebackers. But at that point in time, for that quarterback and that offense, they'll do anything to pick up a 1st down.
2 tight ends again for Texas. 1st down at the OU 22. Play action. Young trying to throw, and boy, that was dangerous. Tried to sneak one in to his receiver, and Larry Burdine is the guy that broke it up.
Hey, Bob, you notice that when Young goes back there and throws his throwing motion, he's got a low throwing motion. And I know that the Oklahoma defense worked extra trying to make sure that whenever he was back in that pocket, getting their hands up, looking for ways to pick one off. They picked off one of his low passes last year and ran it into the end zone when they were backed up against him.
Yeah, he's 6'5", Swanee, but he throws the ball, and it comes out of there like he's 5'10".
2nd down and 10. He'll work from the shotgun this time. And he lost it. Oklahoma's got it. Last year, Vince Young put it down on the 2-yard line, scrambling in for what would have been the tying touchdown. And he knows that lightning just struck again, this time at the 14-yard line.
Well, he's a quarterback, maybe half quarterback, half running back, but no matter what you are, you've got to put the ball away.
Put in the hat was Rufus Alexander right on the football. And Clint Ingram with the fumble recovery.
That's the 8th takeaway for the Oklahoma defense this year.
And it's the 17th they forced against this Texas team in the last 5 years. Peterson stacked up, maybe got a yard. Roderick Wright, who didn't play last week, nursing an injury. He's back, and he's a big, big part of their defensive line. I mean, about 305 big.
And he wanted to play in this ball game. Brad, if you ask me my impression of the first 5 or 6 series of this ball game, I would tell you turnovers and forced turnovers. Especially Texas has forced 2. Oklahoma just got their first one. But the other thing is Oklahoma's had terrible field position.
Right. Jason White to throw, fires, and what a throw it was out to the 30-yard line to Will Peoples. And he took a big hit, but he held on.
So this is the dimension that Oklahoma has that Texas does not have. They don't have a quarterback that can throw like Jason White, and they've got all these wide receivers in the slot there, just going to break to the outside. The outside receiver clearing it out. But this is what Oklahoma can do that Texas can't do.
And with Aaron Ross coming over from that other corner to help out Michael Huff, it took a heck of a grab by Peoples to hold on. He really got whacked by both of them. First down, though, at the 31-yard line for the Sooners. White loading it, going deep down the near sideline. And it's caught. Ball loose. Nope, incomplete. Brandon Jones had it, just didn't hold it. That would have been a disaster for the Texas secondary.
Well, he had it. Did he bobble it? The defensive back ran out of bounds on his own. That's Ross, 31.
Oh, boy.
Well, the official that called it was behind the receiver.
I thought he had it, and I thought he took a step with both hands on it.
Yeah. If he would have called that a fumble, I think that is more correct than it was not a fumble.
At any rate, it's 2nd down and 10 back at the 31. Kewan Jones back in as the tailback, and he'll get the call. Kewan straight up the middle. Got a first down across the 40, out to the 43-yard line as he picks up 12, and he's got Oklahoma excited. Penalty marker at the end of the play. So Kewan rips off a first down run, but let's see if it sticks.
Bob and Brad, at the end of that play, while the Oklahoma player was down on the ground, I can't give you a number, one of the Texas players came in and pushed the lineman in the back. Number 50, I believe it was. He just pushed him blatantly in the back. Didn't hit him really hard. Obvious call. The official was right on the money.
And that was the call, Swanee, a personal foul. So it's all the way down to the 43-yard line for Oklahoma. Mack Brown doesn't like those kind of plays. We're down to 9 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first half. A scoreless game between the number 2 and number 5 team in the country. Oklahoma has something working offensively now. And off play action, Jason White loads it, going long for Mark Clayton. Clayton's out there, and it's going to be no call in the end zone. Got tangled up with Philip Giger back there. The fans want a pass interference, and they don't get it.
Well, he had a little stop and go. They took a shot at it. They crossed the 50. They got the penalty yardage marked off. Then they just did a little stop and go over there on the right side. It's a good time to take a chance at it.
The crowd getting another look at it as you get another look too.
But when the receiver is changing his course of action and running into the defensive back, that's a good no call.
Yeah, I think that's a good no call, Swanee. I agree.
2nd down at the 43. White again wants to throw a screen. Kewan Jones with a nice catch and then turns it up and gets what he can inside the 40 and down to about the 38-yard line. Time now for our Aflac trivia question for this week. As our duck waddles across the screen, who was the last Oklahoma Sooner to lead the nation in scoring? We'll give you the answer a little bit later on. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew at the 99th version of the Red River Shootout. No shootout so far. It's been a Texas hold'em. We're scoreless. Slant pattern incomplete, intended for Clayton. And it's going to bring up 4th down. We'll check the 4th down after we check in with Sam Ryan in New York. Sam, thanks. Alabama with a touchdown lead. So Maroney and Barber doing well for the Gophers, but they still trail Michigan. Remember, they had that huge lead on Michigan last year and let it evaporate.
Yeah, it's in the Metrodome.
So Mark Clayton and Jason White were going for the home run. Incomplete, no call, no score. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chevrolet. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American Revolution. Singular Wireless. Aflac, ask about it at work. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. And the line sticks in at the 20-yard line. That's where we're 1st and 10 for Texas. Will they open it up pretty soon, Bob? I keep worrying about a play action. Cedric Benson's carried it a lot. Here it comes. There it goes. Incomplete.
Yeah, and he had a receiver down the middle of the field.
But Dan Cody got the pressure again.
Exactly. Cody may have saved. Well, he obviously saved the throw down deep, but let's take a look from the end zone. Play action, fake, 1st down. Look at everybody. All the safeties are up to stop the run. You couldn't see the receiver that was down the middle, single coverage, and he was open.
Second and 10 for the Longhorns. Benson, left side, got some running room that time. Got 5 or 6 before he's knocked down. Jonathan Jackson is there. A reminder at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Benson's got 40 yards on 12 carries so far. And timeout taken by Texas with 7 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the first half. Still no score. Tough game going on here at the Cotton Bowl. Welcome back to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. Eddie George of the Cowboys, Roy Williams, former OU star, the strong safety for Dallas on the sideline. A Heisman Trophy winner and a guy that'll take your head off, given a chance.
You got that right. Texas has run on 5 of their 6 third-down situations.
Young to throw. Pressured again. Got it out to the tight end. Scaife diving, and I think he got it. Lance Mitchell knocked him out of bounds, but Scaife, who's been around a long time, in his 6th year after a couple of surgery seasons, got a medical red shirt. He makes a big catch, pick up a 5 on 3rd and 4.
We mentioned the wide receivers for Texas really weren't the go-to guys in the passing game. It's the tight ends. Thomas and Scaife, coming into the game, had caught 89 passes in their careers for 12 touchdowns. So those 2 guys will play a lot.
Shotgun now for Young from the 32. Wants to throw on first down. He's got Benson wide open across the 40. But out of bounds near midfield at the 49-yard line. So Cedric Benson as a receiver comes up with a big play.
And his career, he's been a good receiver. 52 receptions coming into the ball game. So they're 2 tight ends and Benson set over here to the right side. Good receivers for Young. Got that little drop down sidearm 3-quarter delivery.
Picked up 17 yards out across the 49-yard line. Young in the pocket, going deep. Got a man out there. It's intercepted. No, dropped. Young to get you. Almost got it.
Who got you? This ball's a little thrown to the inside. Onion to get you. Number 22. And Tweed, number 4, doesn't do a very good job of getting in there and knocking the ball away at first, but ended up dropping the ball anyway. But that could have been an interception and our 4th turnover of the ball game.
Which has been the story of the ball game.
Defense and turnovers. And that's what he's telling him right there.
Benson tripped up, got about 3. Rufus Alexander made the stop, and that's a chant of Roof for the outside linebacker. Speaking of our game summary, our Pacific Life game summary has been a turnover story. The tip pass intercepted by Michael Huff gave Texas a chance, and Derek Johnson with his 7th forced fumble of the year from behind, and then Vince Young inside the 15 put it on the ground, and Oklahoma got it back. Field position battle, turnover battle.
Look at all the guys up.
Young running from Cody again. Tried to throw a middle screen, and I think we're going to have an illegal receiver downfield probably, although it is the tight end, David Thomas, so maybe it's a holding in the middle of things.
I think there was a bigger body downfield than Thomas. Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah. So you can throw that screen if you throw it behind the line of scrimmage, and that's what Vince is talking to him about. But the ball went past the line of scrimmage. You have to throw that screen behind if your offensive linemen go downfield.
Bob and Brad 64, Casey Studdard was, I think, the guy they called it on. So the ball was coming. He was just kind of sidestepping away from it. Pretty light on his feet, though.
So the penalty is going to be declined. And that brings up the punting situation again. So here's been a guy that's been kind of a weapon today, actually. 34-yard average doesn't tell the story. The 3 inside the 20 does.
Yeah, he just needs not to slip up and kick one to this guy where he can get something done.
McGee again try to punt it away from Perkins. Perkins fair catch taken at about the 12-yard line. So again, not good field position for Oklahoma, courtesy of the Longhorn punter. 6:22 remaining in the half. We're still scoreless. We asked you the Aflac trivia question earlier. Who was the last Oklahoma Sooner to lead the nation in scoring? Who wants to go first?
I'm the guy who was at the tail end of this whole game so far, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say it was Steve Owens.
All right, Bob?
Well, I got to say, at one point in time, my good buddy Billy Vessels was the leader, but I think it was Owens too.
I'll go with Greg Pruitt just to change it up. Get the answer for you after this. First down. From the 12. Here's a guy that looks like he's going to score a lot before his career's over. Peterson rips off about 15, and a flag flies in at the end of the play. So Peterson, who had a big 44-yard run the first time he touched it, rips off another first down, and I think they'll tack some more onto it. It's a face mask against Texas. So that takes bad field position and makes a good field position in a hurry. They'll walk it out to the 31, almost the 32-yard line. There's the question. Last Oklahoma Sooner to lead the nation in scoring, and the answer is... whoops. Billy Sims led the nation in 1979. So we all whiffed, guys.
It was a whiff.
It's a defensive battle. You knew we were going to come up with zeros, the three of us. Now it's Kewan Jones. Roderick Wright made the stop on. There we said nothing changes from a week ago. So we will head to Iowa with the same numbers. 3-2-1.
I think I was half right, though. I think when Billy played here, Billy Vessels in 52 scored all those touchdowns. He was probably leading at that time. Do I get a half for that or not?
I don't know. Billy's looking on from a better place. We know he's got a good seat.
Yes, sir.
2nd and 8. Two tight end set. They fake the toss one way, and Peterson gets it going left. Peterson in the open field, across midfield, and now runs over Michael Huff. Another big run by the big freshman, 26 yards. Adrian Peterson with a big run.
Watch the wide receivers as they come in from the right side. Watch him try to get into the way of some faces here. This block right here, over here. Then all he's got to do is get between them. This kid was in high school this time last year. He is big, strong, and fast, and he got the respect of the veterans really early this summer when he showed up.
Freshman out of Palestine, Texas, and he's run about halfway home with 95 yards. Jones hit after a yard gain. That's about it. Frank Ocam, another freshman from right here in Dallas, a big fella, makes the hit.
Bob and Brad, you recall when we were talking to the Oklahoma coaches, that they were talking about Clayton and the wide receivers as a group. We all understand how good they are at catching the ball. But Coach Stoops, Coach Long said that what the receivers have done all this year is worked harder at their overall game.
Yep.
And part of that was the blocking downfield. Coaches always say a wide receiver's block downfield can be the difference between a 5-yard run and a 25-yard touchdown run.
Clayton is the guy that got a crushing block in the big run by Peterson last week. And the win over Texas Tech. Whistle, stop play.
Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma is taking a timeout before the snap.
Called that from the sideline. The coach called that one.
And you couldn't do that before, but coaches can call timeouts this year. Bob Stoops wanted one. He's got it with 4:04 left in the half.
John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor coming up on the Valvoline Halftime Show. We'll take a look at tradition in this game as well. How have you liked the first half?
I tell you what, Oklahoma's really running the ball very well, but they're not getting any production on third down. That's something's going to have to change in the second half for them to get this win.
They're 0 for 5 on third down, Oklahoma. Texas is running the ball, and their defense is playing outstanding ball right now. We'll show you what they're doing.
They've been terrific on both sides of the ball as far as defense goes. Right now, let's take it upstairs, and we'll be back with the Valvoline Halftime Show after this.
All right, John, fellas, welcome to the Cotton Bowl with us. Pony didn't have to go very far, almost a home game for him.
It's a drive away.
I love Aaron's suits. I always wanted to just take one home and go camping in it.
Just build a tent?
Yeah. Second down and 9. Oklahoma at the Longhorn 41-yard line. On the carry, Peterson, and that should put him at the century mark. I think he's got over 100, and that'll be 5 straight games to open a season for the sensational freshman. It had never happened with all the great running backs Oklahoma had in the past. They'd never had somebody even rush 4 games in a row to start a career, and this kid's now done it 5 times. 11.4 a pop today.
Yeah, just what Oklahoma needed, right? There's a running back to go with this outstanding passing game they had from last year.
Exactly.
And an offensive line that returned every starter.
The rain is picking up again. The toss is to Peterson. Looking for the first down, and he's got it. Peterson inside the 30. He's got 5 more. What makes the 19-year-old so good? Well, he can add a lot to your team with different dimensions. Our spotlight on Adrian Peterson. First of all, he's got speed. That fast.
We know that.
Blink of an eye. He's powerful. He'll carry some guys. And for how young he is, he really sees the field, Bob.
He's got it all, and like I said, he's got the respect. The young kid came in and earned the respect of the veteran players within a couple of weeks.
He gets a breather here. Tashard Choice comes into the Oklahoma backfield, and now another timeout taken by the Sooners, as Jason White knows they're getting down in that territory with under 3 minutes to go in the half when you don't want to waste an opportunity. So he's going to call timeout and bring it over to the sideline again. While he does that, let's check in again in New York. Here's some thank you. Here it's scoreless. Almost impossible to believe, other than you knew both teams had good defenses, but no score with under 3 minutes to go in the half.
When you look at the series the last few years, the amount of points have been scored. Oklahoma scored 65 last year, got in the 60s a few years ago, and you know this game has always been a lot of offense. But I'm not saying I like the defense because I like offense. I mean, I can take half of this, and then let's get some points in the second half.
All right. Peterson, 53, so half of his yards in this game have come on this drive alone. First time he touched it, remember, was near the goal line, and he went 44 yards. Longest run given up by Texas all year. He's done it with speed, power, and moves. He's over 100, and he's back in there as a tailback in the eye at the 29 of Texas. Here he is on the counter. Peterson trying to get to the corner. Nice tackle on the corner. Phil Giger, the safety, came up, hit him low, only a pickup of a yard.
Well, Giger is a guy that will hit you. That secondary, the free safety. He's third on the team in tackles, but he'll come up and hit you and lay one on you.
He had one of the better games despite the lopsided score last year. He had 9 tackles in the Oklahoma-Texas game. He's one of the captains, a senior out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Pickup of 1. Jason White runs up under center now on second down and 9. Fullback Runnels in motion. Peterson trying to cut back, broke a tackle, puts his head down and gets inside the 25, down to the 24 and down to Swanee.
Well, Bob and Brad, I really like what Bob Stoops has done in the last 3 minutes of this first half. He's really taken charge of the game from the sideline, slowed it down a little bit, I think, for his offense, make them take the time to see what the defense is doing, be very, very sure about the handling of the ball in the rain. They're playing for the last 3 minutes to try and get something on the scoreboard, not to lose the field position, to go for a field goal, or better, to get it into the end zone.
Kewan Jones has come in for Adrian Peterson, so again he'll flank White in the shotgun, trips down to the right side, 4 wide receiver set. Here's White on a quick throw, flashes it out, broken tackle at the 20, and a first down inside the 15 for Travis Wilson. So they needed 5 and they got 8.
There was a missed tackle out there by Ross. And that's what they're going to continue doing. If they know one guy is not a good tackler, they're going to continue doing this. That's Ross, 31. When you come up, you don't want to knock his block off. Just come up and get him down.
Right.
You're out there by yourself. Get him down.
This drive started for Oklahoma at its own 12-yard line. And 6 minutes and a half later, they're in the 10th play of the drive. First down at the Longhorn 15. Play action. White wants to throw. Incomplete. Huff was covering out there. And the pass was wide.
I don't care. I don't care if your knees are good. That running that far and then get hitting like that when you're running full speed is tough on a 24-year-old quarterback.
And you're trying to throw back across your body going 100 miles an hour to your left.
24 is not old, but for him, I'm sure it is.
Showdown Saturday continues here on ABC. Here's the games you'll see next. Cal against the top team in the country. Wisconsin, Ohio State in the Big Ten, Oklahoma State, Colorado, Big 12, and in the ACC, Georgia Tech, Maryland. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Peterson back in on 2nd down and 10. They toss it to him on the right side. He found a crease inside the 10, the 5, and he's down. 1st and goal, Oklahoma. Another 11-yard gain for Adrian Peterson.
When he does that, when you fake the toss, when he fakes the toss this way, it holds these linebackers just enough so that when you go the other way, they're not in pursuit. It just holds them. Now he gets out here and he just makes something happen.
Well over 100 yards in the first half. 1st and goal inside the 5. Peterson stays in. Will he get the handle again? Penalty markers down.
I think they're going to call this too many guys in the huddle.
You're right. Well, when you're down there and you think you can run it, this certainly changes the complexion of things.
Substitution violation. It's the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
You can't have more than 11 players in the huddle. And sometimes it happens not intentionally. You might have 12 or 13 because you don't know what personnel group you want in the ball game. So 2 guys left a little late, and the official called it against Oklahoma.
See how much this changes how Oklahoma approaches this 1st and goal. Back at the 9-yard line. 2 tight ends set. One of them in motion right there. They'll toss it to Peterson anyway. Puts his head down. And it's knocked out of bounds at about the 8. Aaron Harris and Larry Dibbles made the stop. Peterson 9 carries on this 12-play drive right now. And you know, watching the film from last week and the win for Oklahoma over Texas Tech, Bob, I'm watching this kid, and he got down in a situation a little bit closer to the goal line than this, and he took it and he ran over a defensive back in the end zone, and I thought Herschel Walker over Bill Bates in 1980.
Yeah, but how long do you stay with this kid? You got the Heisman Trophy winner back, the quarterback. You got your 5 top receivers and an offensive line back. When do you start throwing it?
Let's see if it's here. White sees some open grass, but he'll only get to the 5. And I don't care how healthy your knees are when you got guys like Roderick Wright and Tim Crowder chasing you. He gets it.
Well, the problem was everybody was covered.
And now the clock becomes a big factor. And they'll stop it, but it's 4th down. So it looks like they're going to have to take 3. That's not what Bob Stoops wanted, you can bet. But again, that penalty for too many players in the huddle is what probably cost him a better chance for a touchdown.
Well, the other thing is, that was a pass on 2nd down, and he wanted to throw it to score, or else at least be an incompletion where it would stop the clock. So they'd get another play before they might have to try a field goal.
Trey DiCarlo is 3 out of 5 on the season. He'll try to break a scoreless tie here, and he'll do it with a 24-yard field goal attempts. Again, the officials stop play. 14 seconds all that remains in the half. And regardless of whether DiCarlo hits this field goal or not, both teams are going to head to the locker room and know that they've got 2 quarters left to straighten this thing out. This time last year, Oklahoma had such a huge lead that I think Texas' spirit was probably gone by the 2nd half. That won't be the case today, no matter if this 24-yard field goal goes through or not. Mark Bradley is the holder, number 1 right there on the left side of your screen.
He's got some tricks.
I just had to mention it because he's one of the best athletes on this team in a variety of ways.
He can throw it, he can run it.
And on the other side for Texas, that's Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator.
And he knows all about Bradley.
Yep.
And the desire in the past of Oklahoma and Bob Stoops to run some trick plays at different times.
Chicanery. Mark Bradley, we talked about all the things he can do as a kick returner, as a wide receiver. He can do a little bit of everything. His first career kick return was a year ago, and he took it from coast to coast, 100 yards for a touchdown. First pass attempts, throwing on the wide receiver option, touchdown to Clayton. First end around, first time he touched it, 51-yard touchdown run.
Now he comes out. He's going to hold for this field goal right before half.
We're not trying to set you up, folks. It might be a kick here in a second.
Well, it's probably going to be a kick, but just letting you know what the Texas coaches know.
That's why the timeout, no doubt, was called. Bradley to spot it right there for DiCarlo, the left-footed kicker. And now Texas takes the timeout. They'll let Trey DiCarlo think about it a little bit longer. And now the fans getting restless in the Cotton Bowl because they want to get out there and get a corn dog and get back in here for the second half. We'll take a timeout with them. 14 seconds remaining first half. We'll see if Oklahoma can score when we come back. 14 seconds remaining in the half. The Valvoline halftime show with John, Craig, and Aaron is maybe just a couple of kicks away. DiCarlo, the junior out of Carrollton, Texas. He's a Texas native and trying to put his OU team in front. And now Mark Bradley comes way over the sideline with the referee. He wants to get a towel and wipe his hands off. It's raining pretty hard out there right now. It's coming down sideways, as Swally mentioned earlier. Swally?
Hey, Brad, if Oklahoma was going to have an opportunity to kick a field goal, what better place than this particular end zone? Because it's all OU fans. Look around the stadium. They're sitting there very quiet. They're not moving. They're not jumping up and down, kind of like that baseball game we were watching the other night in Boston.
Right.
When they got tied up. They're not doing anything. On the far end, behind them, you know, the Texas fans, they can yell and scream. It's not going to impact them way down here. So if you're looking for the better end zone, they found it.
And you see the Texas band is right behind the OU bench right now, fully clad in cowboy hats. And Al Dowden comes back out, the referee. They had to call upstairs to spot the ball in the proper location.
5-yard line, that's where we'll start.
So the 5-yard line is where the snap will come.
How did they forget where it was to begin with?
They wanted a corn dog at halftime.
I know we've had a few timeouts here and a few different things going on, but that's the officials supposed to do. That's their job.
Now it's a 22-yard field goal attempt for Oklahoma. DiCarlo trying to snap the scoreless tie. Bradley to hold. Kick on the way, and it's good. So it took almost 2 complete quarters for somebody to draw first blood, and it goes to the Sooners 3-0. Kickoff coming up after a short break. 9 seconds remaining first half. In the rain in Dallas, Oklahoma leads Texas 3-0, capping the longest and most sustained drive of the day by either team. 15 plays, 83 yards, over 6 minutes, but disappointed, I'm sure, a little bit the Sooners are, in that they got 71 yards on that drive from Adrian Peterson, but couldn't get a touchdown at the end of it. High short kick. Fair catch is going to be called for and taken by one of the up men. And Texas will have, I don't think is going to be too desperate right here. I think they'll probably take a knee and head to the locker room and think about the fact that they'll get the football first to start the third quarter.
Give it to Benson or Young. They got 2 guys that can go all the way.
They give it to Benson, and he only goes to the 24-yard line. And that will be the end of the first half. So a tough defensive battle. And so far the slight edge to the Sooners of Oklahoma, who are trying to win this war for the 5th time in a row. And Bob Stoops has the lead, and he's with Lynn Swan.
Well, Coach, your defense is pitching a shutout, and that's always good. Your offense moving the ball down the field that last drive. Not great field position throughout the first half. If there's one little thing, I guess, maybe third down, trying to convert third down.
Efficiencies have been a little off. We've had some big plays. We've been on the, right on the verge of making. Got to make them, and we got to keep the run game going. That's been really good to us and pick it up in some of the passing game.
We'll see you in the second half, Coach.
All right, Coach Stoops with a lead. 3-0 though this time. It wasn't a blowout like it was this time a year ago. Well, the guys are waiting in the rain. John, Craig, and Aaron. Let's go to the halftime show, fellas.
Brad. Game day. Wake up early in the morning.
Hey, Preston! It's game day! Here's your wake-up call!
From there, we get everything ready. Sooner's the grumpy one. It's always picking on Boomer. He's always biting him and nipping him, and he's not a nice pony. After that, we go and pick up our queen.
Morning. Hey, is it just queen or queen shoot, or is it queen or queen? Now, is it 1, 2, 3, queen or queen? Shoot.
1, 2, 3, queen or queen!
Then from there, we drive into the stadium.
Hey, if you don't blow any calls, we'll let you know when we shoot, okay?
I mean, you know, the shotguns are great, and everybody likes to hear them go boom, but the drivers, I mean, our responsibility is the mascot of the university.
Yeah, okay, how hard it is to drive some ponies. We're out here every day having to shoot in unity all these guns. You know how hard it is?
Did you like how I went around the punter and like in between the receivers and stuff?
He didn't wreck it, so that's a plus.
Hey, Justin, do you need any help with that?
As animals do, they don't typically tend to use restroom facilities, and cleaning it up in front of 85,000 people is a very humbling experience.
Just another day in the life of a roughneck.
The Red River Shootout is about tradition. It's also about outstanding players and athletes. Case in point, Roy Williams, one of my all-time favorite football plays there when he reached over the line and swatted it away, causing the fumble. Now with the Dallas Cowboys. The first thing when you come to this game, the electricity that you feel inside of this building is absolutely tremendous. What was it like for you playing in this series?
It's amazing. You can't beat it. I mean, if the viewers are at home here right now, they'll see the stadium splitting from 50 to 50. It's all crimson, and the other side is all brute orange, and nobody cares about brute orange. But I mean, it's crazy. It's hype, and everybody's excited about it.
All right, Roy, advantage or disadvantage? OU's used to being on a romp at halftime. Will they come out and be able to recover?
Yeah, Stoops is going to get on them, man. They had a lot of turnovers. Peterson fumble and Jason White fumble and all that. We got to get that past us and go ahead and stop a mud hole in them.
Roy, real quick, what's the hardest thing about getting ready to play in a game this big?
It's not hard. It's not hard at all. It can't be hard. It's OU Texas.
He's from Notre Dame. He forgot how big games were, those guys.
No, it's a big game. I brought Eddie George here today, Leroy Glover. So Eddie George said this is bigger than Ohio State, Michigan. And that's a big statement. I told him, he came here and he said it.
By the way, we were going to have Ricky Williams here, but he backed out at the last minute. Just joking, Ricky. Stick around. The second half is coming up. Thanks a lot, Roy.
Well, the spotlight so far has been on defense at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Oklahoma, a late field goal leads Texas as we're just about set for the third quarter, 3-0. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan down on the sideline. Partner, it's been a battle of defenses, turnovers, field position, and two pretty good running backs, but it's a youngin' that's getting the better of the veteran.
It's the freshman that's whooping up on. He came in, I think he was 8th or something in the nation in rushing. Benson was the leader in the nation, 187 yards, and he ain't getting it done. He got 43 at halftime.
Right. And Peterson, meanwhile, had most of that 126 on the scoring drive, but Oklahoma comes down. They get down to the situation where it looks like they're going to get a shot, and they end up with a very costly penalty.
Oklahoma has played pretty well offensively. They have been backed up inside their 20-yard line all 6 possessions. The thing that Texas has not done is take advantage of the 2 turnovers that they've gotten. They have not done anything with them. Texas has to come out in the second half and run a little bit better and hit some big plays down the field.
They've tried a couple times the play action that we expected to see. The problem has been for Vince Young, inconsistency, inaccuracy, and guys like Dan Cody hitting him in the back.
Yes, having time to throw it.
So Texas will get the football first, though. DeCarlo's got it teed up. Phil Giger and Terrell Brown are back waiting for Texas. Strong kick, 6 yards in the end zone. Giger won't bring it out. Our Pacific Light game summary statistically in the first half. As you see, OU with the big edge more than twice as much on the ground, and Mack Brown told us if we don't outrush them, we're not in very good shape.
Yeah, the third down possessions aren't good for either side. Defense, look at own 12-yard line. That's where Oklahoma is starting. The 2 turnovers and the 1 turnover for the 3 turnovers in the game. Nobody's capitalized on them. It's just been a defensive struggle.
Young comes up to the line with his Longhorn offense at the 20-yard line. Play action to Benson. Young will keep it, but he's only going to get about 2 before Bradley Poole knocks him out of bounds. Let's check in with Swanee.
Well, guys, Mack Brown must have been listening to you and Bob. He came out and he said, you know, we've got to do much better on third down efficiency. He said turnovers are going to be key in the second half, but most importantly, when his football team was in the locker room, Mack reminded him, he said, I told you this was going to be a heavyweight fight. It is. We're just going to have to go out, slug it out with them in the second half, keep the turnovers down, and stay after it, and we can win this ball game, guys.
And remember, the Sooners are the team that's wearing the championship belt the last 4 years. If you're going to take it away from them, you got to beat them. So far, through a half, they haven't. Young, quick drop, quick throw, and too high. Incomplete, intended for Nate Jones. It'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Bottom line, if Texas gets into a situation where they have to throw, if they make them one-dimensional and they can't run and they have to throw, Oklahoma's going to win this ball game.
Yep. Texas has no receptions by a wide receiver today. And that's not good. And of course, Roy Williams is sitting up in Detroit, actually sitting in Atlanta this afternoon, getting ready to play the Falcons.
The last few years, they've had a ton of good receivers.
B.J. Johnson as well. Here's Young as a throw, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Nate Jones, a wide receiver, but he went one way and the ball went the other. Actually, it was Brian Carter, the wide receiver, incomplete. So the only reception there among the leaders is Cedric Benson. He's done most of the work on the ground, but not too effectively.
Oklahoma should get good field position here.
Now can you keep it away from Antonio Perkins? That's the question. This has been the deepest McGee's had to punt. He's kept it out of number 28's hands, but can he hear? I think this time Perkins has got a shot from the 34. Remember, he's got 8 touchdowns on returns, but they know that, and they've done a nice job covering it. Oklahoma's offensive leaders in the first half. We talked about Adrian Peterson, the sensational 19-year-old at 126 yards on the ground. Wilson with 2 catches. Jason White. Those aren't Heisman Trophy numbers, but they haven't had to be yet because of the ground game.
They're not asking him to do as much as they did last year when they didn't have a very good ground game.
Now, right now, Cedric Griffin on that special teams was shaken up, Bob, and I'm wondering if Oklahoma's thinking maybe we should test that corner. Best starting field position of the day for Oklahoma. Just inside its own 44. Peterson trying to get to the corner, does, and puts his head down and plows for about 10 more.
Texas had good position on the outside, and he just ran around him. He beat him to the sideline and then got upfield for 9 or 10 yards. Watch this. All these guys in the white uniforms get outrun to the sideline.
4th run of 10 yards or more today by Adrian Peterson.
Likes to go to the right side, 73 yards.
On first down. This time he goes left and doesn't find as much room. Aaron Harris closed the door. The middle linebacker only a pickup of about a yard. We mentioned earlier they call him AD. Those aren't his initials. But when he was young, he had so much energy. His parents said he could run all day, thus the AD. And he's doing a pretty good job on this day. He goes out. Kewan Jones comes in. And Kewan was almost a 1,000-yard rusher himself a year ago. And he's the veteran, the junior, out of Jenks High, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 2nd down and 9. From the 45, they pitch it to Kewan. He cuts up in the middle and gets About 3 tough yards. Derek Johnson, the linebacker, number 11, in on another tackle. So it's going to bring up a 3rd down and long situation, at least over 5. That's Josh Heupel with the headset, a former star quarterback for Oklahoma.
They had Heupel, Hipple, and White all in the same recruiting class.
That sounds like a law firm.
Those 3 guys.
Heupel, Hipple, and White.
They lead Oklahoma career-wise in touchdown passes, the 3 of them.
Jason White just passed Josh Heupel last week. Now he comes up throwing, first down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line to Brandon Jones. A pickup of 12.
This is what Oklahoma was expecting to see from him. The linebackers blitzing, leaving in the secondary one-on-one coverage. He sees it. Look at this. You got all this room to throw to on the inside. That's just good preparation and good blocking up front.
Peterson back in now at the tailback spot as they've got it first down. Inside the Longhorn 30, leading by 3. The counter to Peterson. Barges ahead for about 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Most touchdown passes. Jason White overtook Josh Heupel last week in the win over Texas Tech.
This class was recruited in '99, so Heupel played first, and then Hipple took over for Heupel. And then White, this is his 6th year. You know, he had a couple of medical red shirts and all that other stuff, so he's the last guy to play.
Ruddles, fullbacks in motion, and now settles in the backfield. They toss it to Peterson. Peterson through a crease inside the 15 and down inside the 10. What balance? 17 more yards. Boy, this kid's got it all.
Well, he does, but he's got some help up front. It's just going to be a toss to the right side. Now, watch as he's going to stretch the thing. Runnels 38's going to get a block. Now look at this. Look what he sees. He sees this developing and that. And for a true freshman to see that and just get up inside. And again, he is hard to bring down. He just doesn't come down if you go at his ankles.
1st and goal, Oklahoma. Just inside the Texas 10. Peterson again. Down to the 6.
Now, Bob and Brad, just to give you the Texas perspective on Adrian Peterson. I asked Mac Brown when he was coming out of the field, I asked him, I said, Coach, did you talk to your defense any about tackling? Maybe missing some of those tackling. He just looked at me and said, Swanee, hey, that Adrian Peterson is just a darn good back. And we get our guys in position, and he is just running hard. And we're just going to have to gang up on him.
Of course, remember, a heavy recruiting battle for number 28 between these 2 schools because he is a Texas native from about an hour and a half southeast of here. 2nd and goal. He gets the toss, and he's hitting his tracks. Nice open field stop that time by Brian Robinson, and a loss of 3 or 4.
Yeah, they've tried that play on several occasions, and most of the time it's worked, and Robinson said, hey, the heck with this. 39 over here on this side. Just watch as he's going to come across. He sees what's developing. Now he comes under control. That's a good open field tackle by the defensive end.
As good as you'll see on a guy that's that shifty. Well, now
he was
3rd
in
down
shock,
and goal.
Brad.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
One guy brought him down.
This is a huge play for the Texas defense, especially if they can keep him out of the end zone. That's Clayton in motion. White from the shotgun on 3rd and goal at the 10. Scrambling. Throws out in the flat. Caught, but immediately it's Michael Huff who's done a nice job in the secondary, and he puts the hit on Bubba Moses. So that'll bring out the field goal unit. Texas did its job. They tightened up when they had to.
This high-powered offense for Oklahoma can't get it in the end zone. Last year he threw 40 touchdown passes.
4 in this game.
In the first 4 games this year. White's thrown 9 touchdown passes, but none so far.
Trey DiCarlo hit the 22-yarder in the final seconds of the 2nd quarter. He'll try a 26-yarder here. Bradley to hold. And the kick on the way. And DeCarlo is added to the Oklahoma lead. But again, Mack Brown knows his Longhorn team is just one play away from being in front in the ballgame. Another field goal. 9:02 remaining third quarter. 6-0 Sooners. Don't you know, a month and a half into the season, that guy's still not used to being in coach's gear. Frank Solich, former head coach at Nebraska.
Who's he pulling for, Brad?
I don't know. He didn't like playing either one of these teams. 8 yards deep. Giger won't bring it out. Texas will work from the 20 after we check in with what's going on in the biggest game for the Gophers in a long, long time.
Beat him last year. They're going to possibly beat him again.
Here's Cedric Benson into the secondary. Benson off to the races. And across the 40 to the 42-yard line. 22-yard run, his best of the day.
They needed something because Texas has not been on the field a lot offensively lately. He's going to start this way and right up here. Watch the defensive end. He's going to go unblocked. This end right there is going to go unblocked, and he's not going to make the tackle because that end was looking for the quarterback, and Benson ran right up inside of it.
Now they try to come left. He cuts back into the middle and loses a yard. Lynn Magruder cut him off with the pass, and then he got help from his friends. 5th time, though, today that Benson has had no gain or lost yardage on his 16 carries. Cedric Benson, the nation's leading rusher. What makes him so good as we take a spotlight look? He is strong. We know that. He can run over tacklers. Versatile. Baseball player until this year. He gave that up. And he's got some moves, too. Emulates Ricky Williams. That's his hero. Wears his hair the same. Gets up slow at the end and plays the same. Has moved into the number 2 spot behind Ricky in the all-time record books for Texas, having passed Earl Campbell. There you see the dreadlocks out of the back of the helmet. Ricky doesn't have those anymore.
Say, idolizes him, huh? And when Ricky cut his hair earlier in the season, he went to Benson and he said, hey, Ricky cut his hair. He said, don't go there, Coach.
Yeah. Coach Brown said, how about that? He goes, I don't think so, Coach. 3rd down. Big play for Texas. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Young's in trouble, and down he goes. Nope, he got rid of it. And almost completed it.
How in the world did he get rid of that ball?
I don't know. Perkins, I thought, had both his arms wrapped up. He tried to get it to Swede, and it's incomplete.
He is 6'5", and he's got these guys down around him. He didn't even see the blitz coming from his right side.
There comes Perkins, and I thought he had him completely wrapped up. He somehow snuck his arm out of there.
That's not a normal move for a quarterback to get hit like that. Free your throwing arm and get back up there and throw it.
Let's see how much energy Perkins has as a punt returner after that play defensively. He'll get a chance on the 21. Perkins, they have gobbled him up today on the punt coverage. Nice job again, only a 5-yard return. So Oklahoma's got the lead. They've got the ball back. But it's still a one-play game with 7:12 remaining third quarter. Nothing's better than Dr. Pepper. All states, are you in good hands? Stanley, make something great. And AOL for broadband, proud sponsor of 1st and 10. Put it in at the 25-yard line. That's where Oklahoma goes back to work. 1st and 10, they lead 6-0. We've got 7:12 remaining third quarter. Toss, Adrian Peterson. Out to about the 29. We'll give him 4 more yards. He's over 160. He's right at 160 on the day. So would this 19-year-old be overwhelmed by the Red River shootout and the half crimson, half burnt orange crowd of the Cotton Bowl? I don't think so.
Think back to the last true freshman that has made an impact on a team. And it's Maurice Clarett, Ohio State, national championship. This kid impresses me more than Maurice Clarett.
I agree. On 2nd down, here he goes again into the secondary, running over people out to the 41-yard line. 12 more. Adrian Peterson brought down by Cedric Griffin, who's back in there in the secondary after being shaken up.
Of course, this offensive line has been around. Most of them are 3-year starters. for Oklahoma and Peterson. He's breaking in pretty good. They got a solid passing game. They got a Heisman Trophy quarterback returning, so all the attention is going to be on the quarterback, the receivers. That offensive line is good. You know, wait till he's graduating. He comes back to these little guys that may not block so well.
Here's the quick throw out with the blockers in front of Clayton. His two other wideouts trying to give him some room. They got him about 7 yards. He's been kind of quiet, Marquez. But what a player. One of the captains, a Biletnikoff finalist a year ago, is one of the top receivers in the country. Averages a touchdown every 7 catches. And today he's got only 3 grabs for 19 yards.
And Bob, he's good, and Brad, he's been getting banged up a little bit. We saw him limp off in the first half. Just a reminder for the folks at home, Oklahoma does not give out injury information.
Whoa, what a hit that was. Got to be Derek Johnson. And it was. Man, he's something. 6'4", 235, the senior captain out of Waco, Texas. And he's up for about every defensive award you can look for. The Butkus, the Lombardi, Nagurski, Bednarik, you mentioned it. You talk about it. And now Peterson limping off after that hit. He took a wallop.
He did.
In the leg.
That could be a knee or maybe a thigh, but maybe he'll shake it off.
There's his numbers. Incredible. Kewan Jones back in there for him now. On first down, it is Jones. And Jones, the smaller back of the two, 5'9", 200-pounder. And again, the tackle by Derek Johnson.
You know, this offense for Oklahoma has been on the field a lot. The last 2 possessions, they had 25 plays, and they have been on their 30 plays compared to Texas. Only 7 plays that the offense for Texas has been on there.
And remember, Texas had a 3-and-out, and they saw that 15-play drive at the end of the second quarter go by. When you add in halftime and all the bands, it's almost like Texas hadn't been on the field offensively for about an hour.
I think time of possession, 9 more minutes has Oklahoma had it than Texas.
Nice play fake by White. Scrambles and throws on the run. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Travis Wilson, who was sliding, trying to get that ball that was thrown behind him.
And he was open. All he needed to do was just get the ball to him. Jason has not really been on the mark.
Let's go back a couple of plays. Adrian Peterson, the hit coming up right there. Oh. And I hope it's a thigh and not a knee. Is it one of those wicked hits?
It looked like it was his thigh. He's got a thigh pad there, and it was Johnson that hit him.
I don't think he'd be standing up looking that anxious if he was injured too much.
But that's something, the longer you stand there, the more it could tighten up. If he bruised it, it's just going to get worse.
Texas takes a timeout here with 4:17 remaining in the third quarter. In the Red River Shootout, Oklahoma with a 6-point lead. Greg Robinson, former defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, first year with Texas, hoping his team can stop a 3rd and 7 here of Oklahoma at the Horns' 44-yard line. White wants to throw out in the flat and does, and a nice open field tackle again. And it's Aaron Harris.
They had man coverage on in the secondary. They hadn't played a lot coming in, but Greg decided we're going to play more man-to-man coverage. We're going to get up in their face. And when you have a screen and you have man-to-man coverage, this is exactly what Harris should do. Get up and cover that back.
He likes what he saw on that play.
Dibble says, good call, Coach, good call.
Ferguson set to punt. High punt. Fair catch called for. Going to be down near the 5. Great job. Jacob Rice, the snapper, got down there. Nice kick, even better coverage. Well, we've got a second here. Let's take a look at our Dodge defensive playbook. Bob.
When we talk about defense, and one of the things you can do is be smart. The defensive end here, he's going to just jump right inside at the snap of the ball. Now, the reason he does this is because he's got the snap count. He knows the cadence of the quarterback. You pay attention. You got to be physical, but it also helps to be smart. That's Dan Cody, a 5th-year senior.
Quick snap from the 6, Benson. Broke a tackle. Out close to the 14-yard line, gives them some room to work. We'll see how they work with it after we check in one time more Rich Brooks troops would give up in that game, and they haven't. Here, a second down. Benson in short yardage, fumbled! Oklahoma's got it! Brodney Poole is the guy that dove in. Benson doesn't give it up very often, but he fumbled it there.
Benson put it on the ground 3 times last week. Take a look.
Ingram made the hit.
Yeah, right there. This is the best field position by far for Oklahoma. He didn't lose those fumbles last week against Baylor, but he fumbled and got them back. This is a thing that haunted Texas last year. 6 turnovers they gave away against Oklahoma.
Adrian Peterson's back in at the 24-yard line. Golden opportunity for the Sooners with a fumble recovery. The toss is to Peterson. His wide receivers as blockers. Through the hole and out of bounds. But he got another 13.
Just keep the pressure on. Oklahoma keeping the pressure on, or should I say keeping Peterson on. He's the guy that's doing the damage.
Career high for Adrian Peterson. A lot of those folks that are all painted in crimson haven't even had a chance to meet the kid yet. Another great run down to the 11-yard line. I think I'd just keep feeding the horse.
Why not? You got single coverage out here on the top.
Peterson hitting the backfield this time. It's Derek Johnson.
Yeah, you don't want to go anywhere near Derek Johnson.
In fact, you want to run away from him, and you can't even do that sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what they tried to do there, and he slid through to make the stop. Cedric Benson on the sideline knows there'll be another chance, but will this cost his team a field goal or a touchdown? Or maybe nothing if the Texas defense can clamp down again. 187 yards, which is about what Cedric Benson's been rushing for the last 3 weeks. Only this time it's Peterson with the big numbers. White, plenty of time. Throws in the middle, incomplete.
Look out.
Is that picked off by Johnson?
They have.
Derek Johnson's got the ball. And he's out of bounds. Texas gets it back.
I think it deflected off of a defensive back up into the air. We'll take a look and see.
It skipped off Brandon Jones, I think. Right there, still in the air. Oh, that hit the ground.
That hit the ground.
That hit the ground.
That hit the ground.
Michael Huff's the one that tried to just scoop it off the turf. Johnson took it out of midair, but the ball hit the ground before Huff got his hands under it.
See, this is where the NFL replay or even the Big Ten replay would straighten that out.
As it is, Texas gets a huge break to get the ball. Benson hit in the backfield.
But this is the 99th running of the Red River shootout, and they haven't had replay in any of those, and they got along without it.
Ain't going to start now.
We did all right without it, and we're going to continue on with it. Now, hopefully, something like that won't impact the outcome of the game.
Exactly.
I mean, you can overcome mistakes by officials early in the game, but if that's at the very end of the game and it caused a outcome of the game to be altered, that's when you want to correct it.
Second down, 11, Texas. Vince Young in the shotgun again. Steps up and throws. This time he completes it out to Nate Jones. And Nate Jones got about 9. It'll bring up third down, a long one coming up. Wednesday on ABC. Check out the show that's being called the best new drama on TV. An all-new Lost. Wednesday at 8, 7 Central. Only on ABC. I got an idea we're never going to find out what Kate did wrong to have those handcuffs on.
I'm waiting to find out, too. You know, I mean, they keep going back and teasing you a little bit, you know.
Third down, a huge one here. Benson, he got it. Got about 2 off the right side.
It looked like one of those old rugby scrums, you know. There was 22 guys lined up within 5 yards of each other.
here, not here.
Bob and Brad, the fans are still upset about that call, and all it's done is get them more emotionally involved in the game. They're going to make it hard for Young to hear anything going on right now.
Well, maybe they ought to do a little play action and throw deep, because they ain't going to matriculate down the field.
There's Benson trying to do that, and he does for about 5 across the 40 to the 41, holding on to that football. Of course, what Swanee was talking about is on the right side, as we view the 50, is where the crimson line is drawn, and Texas is still on that end of the field. And if you've never been here, it's a sight to see, because right down the 50-yard line is where burnt orange and crimson get separated.
Yeah, right down. All this is crimson, and all that is burnt orange.
And we burnt the third quarter up. It's still a game that could be decided by one play. Bevo looking on, looks pretty interested. 6-0. At least they didn't shoot Bevo. Our presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. For 4 years, Oklahoma has had Texas' number. 4 straight victories in the Red River Shootout have put them in the national spotlight and put disappointment in the hands of Mack Brown and his Longhorns. Can Texas change it all in the next 15 minutes? It's going to take another comeback, because heading into the 4th, they trail 6-0. Bob Stoops trying to win his 5th straight over the Longhorns. A lot of zeros up there for Texas. They have not scored yet, but they've got the ball as we start the 4th quarter. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew at the State Fair of Texas in the Cotton Bowl. 99th running of the Red River Shootout, and here's Vince Young running down the sideline. Knocked out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's what he can do so well. And after 23 yards, it took number 23 to knock him out of bounds.
It's a 2-man offense. It's Benson and it's Young. He fakes to Benson, gets a nice block there from Studdard, and he just outruns everybody but the last guy, Poole.
Vince Young, 51 yards on the ground, better than he's thrown. He has only 40 in the air. Now it's Cedric Benson up the middle. And Benson got 2, maybe 3. Jonathan Jackson made the stop.
The thing you have to remember on offense, neither offense has played well except for Adrian Peterson, especially Texas here. They haven't scored, but all they need, the only thought is, hey, we score one time, we're ahead.
That's right.
I don't matter what we've done up to this point, going against a good defense. If we score, we're in the lead of this ball game.
Bob said it's a 2-man show between Young and Benson. They have 159 of the Longhorns, 190 yards. Snap was a little low. He got the handoff to Benson, but that play was blown up after about a 2-yard pickup as we head to New York. And here's Minnesota. I don't believe plays Ohio State or Purdue.
Oh.
Wisconsin might be the only team left between them, and you know what?
They're
if
hot.
They win that game.
Minnesota's hot.
3rd and 6. Young had a man wide open, and the play's whistled dead. And there apparently was a timeout taken before that snap, but it was so noisy we didn't hear the whistle. So we'll take the timeout. That leaves Texas with only 1. Vince Young will talk it over on the sideline with 13:34 to play. Titans and the Packers Monday night here. A battle of Titans, if you will. The Sooners ranked 2nd. The Longhorns ranked 5th. So far today, Texas 4 of 11 on their 3rd down conversions. And boy, if they ever needed one, this would be the spot they'd want to pick.
And this may be a situation where they'd go for it on 4th down if they didn't pick up the 1st down here.
Matthews, the fullback, is the single setback.
2 tight ends.
And that's Thomas, one of them, in motion. On 3rd down along 6. Young, quick drop. Now he's in trouble. Down he goes. Onyema to get you, and he got it. He's going to get you, and he got it. And that probably takes him out of field goal range. It will.
3rd down. The coverage was there. It made him pull it up, and then the rush got him.
Perkins there with the jump that you saw kind of prevented Young from pulling the trigger, and it forces another McGee punt. Boy, did he hit this a mile in the air.
Straight up the chute.
But it won't quite stay out of the end zone for him. He kicked that baby almost as high as the Ferris wheel here at the State Fair of Texas, but it hit the end zone. And so Oklahoma will work again. There's the Ferris wheel. Thanks, guys. On the 20-yard line. Oklahoma, 4 straight victories in this matchup. A couple of games that went over 60. Quentin Griffin going in, one of his touchdowns, one of many on the day for him. A great play. Sims back to throw. Lehman off the deflection for the touchdown in a close game. And Oklahoma by 11 over Texas, and then the route was on last year early and often. Jonathan Jackson interception return for a touchdown, part of a 65-point barrage. Here, it's only 6-0 Oklahoma. But Texas is going to be running out of chances pretty soon. Wow, flag flew in from about 30 yards away from the play as Derek Johnson made the tackle. That's as far as you can throw a flag.
That is usually a little extracurricular activity, yeah. Face mask after the play.
Big penalty there.
These two teams weren't always ranked this highly when they came in to play this game, Brad, as you well know. Back in the 90s, I mean, this game was played and nobody even cared about it. But the last three of the last 4 or 5 years, these two teams have been ranked in the top 5 in the country.
Well, 3 of the last 4 years for the Longhorns, 4 years in a row for the Sooners, coming in with a perfect mark for the top 5 ranking. 27th time in the series history they've both been undefeated coming into the game. Adrian Peterson, spin move, lost the football, but it's out of bounds. And he's out to about the 38-yard line.
I think his leg is hurting a little bit. He's just not as quick as he was a little bit earlier in the game.
The Nissan drive summary, second half possessions. Better field position in this half for Oklahoma. And they've only gotten 3 points out of it, though.
Well, they got the ball on the Texas's 24-yard line, and then the interception that was not an interception, really. They didn't score on that drive.
Peterson stays in there on first down from the 38. He'll get the call. Boy, hit again hard in the back. Aaron Harris, another good-looking linebacker, and what a compliment he is to Derek Johnson. And when Johnson came here out of Waco, it seemed like more and more of the Texas linebackers, the good ones, like number 2 Aaron Harris, said, you know what, I want to go where he is because he's pretty good. And they're both pretty good.
They've had some good defensive players out of the state of Texas.
Time permitting.
A whole ton of them.
Time permitting, stick around for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. John, Craig, and Aaron will have scores and highlights from around the country. Those guys headed for higher ground. I don't see him sitting out there anymore. That rain got to him. Second down at 10. Play action. Jason White trying to direct traffic and throws a strike to the far side to Bradley. First down, Oklahoma. Beg your pardon, it's Travis Wilson, number 4.
Get the quarterback outside the pocket. The route you see on the outside just goes down and breaks to the outside, slips a little bit, but he has time for all this because he's outside the pocket.
Travis Wilson's 3rd catch of the day. Good for 34 yards. Well, it took a long time for the Heisman winner to go over 100 yards.
2 interceptions, no touchdowns today in the game, running or passing.
And again, one of those interceptions should not have been. Here's that toss again. Peterson's got one man on the corner, and he slips and goes down, upset with himself. Cedric Griffin, though, squared up, did a nice job keeping his eyes on number 28's belly button, and he slipped going down.
They've tried this play several times. They'll fake one way and it'll pitch. Again, it's designed to hold the linebackers, and Griffin out there does his job.
Down goes Peterson, but not before a 200-yard day in his first ever matchup with Texas. Almost lost the handle, now broke a tackle. Down the sideline and out of bounds, but not before he gets to the 27-yard line.
I take back what I said about his leg bothering him.
You know, he's fast, he's strong, and he's as slippery as a brook trout.
I mean, if this guy was a fifth-year senior, we would say he is dominating this game, but this guy is just a true freshman.
And we watch him, the way he moves, enjoying his balance and strength. He's so young, he's still got things to learn. And one of the great things about having a back like this and a good solid attack late in the close ball game is that you control the clock. And he's got to do that by staying in bounds a little bit more.
219 yards. He gets a breather. Kewan Jones will get the carry this time. Kewan runs into Michael Huff after a pickup of 2 or so.
You know, the other thing about Peterson is that he breaks so many tackles. He doesn't come down with the first guy. And again, I mentioned the guys up front blocking for him. Sims, Carter, and Brown, Jamal Brown, are all fifth-year seniors. Well, Carter's a fourth-year senior. Joseph, the right guard, and Shashan are fourth-year players. So they've all started a ton of games in that offensive line.
2nd down and 8. That ball is right inside the Longhorn 25. Oklahoma leads 6-0. Stretch play to Kewan Jones. Only about a yard more. Derek Johnson, another tackle. And we are down near the 9-minute mark remaining in the ball game. 6-0. You know, if that kid continues to play like this and he plays in Norman for 4 years, you got to wonder if he doesn't have the talent to be one of the all-time greats. And I start thinking, I think the all-time leading rusher in both Division I and 1A is Adrian Peterson from Georgia Southern. How about that if he could pass a guy with the same name? That'd be good.
That'd be very good. He hangs around long enough.
That's what I was alluding to. 3rd and 6.
Get single coverage up the top of the screen.
White, quick slant. Got him complete. First down at the 15. It's Will Peoples.
Hey, Bob and Brad, one of the big differences in this ball game between Oklahoma and Texas has been on plays just like this. Oklahoma's wide receivers recognize the blitz and are running much better routes getting in position, allowing Jason White and all of his experience when he reads that blitz, he knows who he should go to, and that receiver's doing a tremendous job of getting open for that short catch, keeping the drive alive, something the Texas receivers have not done all day.
First down at the 15. Peterson is back in. He'll get the call. Left side, Peterson inside the 10, still on his feet. Knocked out of bounds inside the 7. Jason White feverishly is trying to fix the shoelace on his right cleat. He looked at the referee, Hal Dowden, earlier as if to say, I need a little help here. This thing's broken. And the ref looked at him and said, I'm sorry, son, you don't call a timeout. You're going to have to go barefoot. Yeah. And he ran that last play with his shoestring dangling, and he had to reach for Peterson. He almost tripped getting it there. Kewan Jones comes back in. Runnels, the fullback, is in front of him. 2nd down and a yard. Kewan Jones, left side, Oklahoma touchdown. He got him there, and the other one got him in. And how nice a luxury is it to have two guys that get along and complement each other so well. One a junior and the sensational freshman who got him close, and Kewan Jones got him in.
How about Oklahoma with a running game?
Timeout taken. Oklahoma will try the extra point when we come back. Right now, with just over 8 minutes left, they lead 12-0. They held up that sign next to Lynn Swan in the pregame, and now they can hold it higher. An 80-yard march by Oklahoma in 11 plays. Took 4:38 off the clock. Peterson did a lot of the work. Kewan Jones did the last 6 yards. And Oklahoma's going to go for 2. To try to make it a 14-0 game.
Yeah, as Bob Stoops would say, why not? Because...
well, here's why not, I guess. Clayton made the catch.
It's not going to hurt you if you don't make it.
No. Michael Huff made a nice tackle again. And he has played really well for that defense of the Longhorns. ABC Sports presentation of college football. Brought to you by Nissan. Everything we touch, we shift, and everything we shift, we try to make better. Day after tomorrow, own the biggest event in 10,000 years on DVD on Tuesday. The Hartford Mutual Funds, official corporate partner of the NCAA. And AOL for Broadband, proud sponsor of our First and 10. With Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan, I'm Brad Nessler. This is the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. 75,500 split right down the middle looking on in a game that still the outcome has not been determined, but now Texas knows what it needs. They need 2 scores in 8 minutes or they will lose for the 5th straight time to the Sooners.
And if you're wondering if Texas offensively couldn't score and hasn't gotten close for 3.5 quarters, how are they going to score 2 touchdowns in the last 8 minutes?
Looking down that Sooner sideline, holding their helmets aloft, sensing another victory. High, short kick. Taken by Texas on a fair catch. That was Matthews, the fullback. And that's where Texas will work from. Don't forget, second half of our Showdown Saturday on ABC's College Football. You'll either see Cal versus #1 USC, Wisconsin and Ohio State, big game in the Big Ten, Georgia Tech, Maryland, or Oklahoma State and Colorado. Check local listings for the game in your area. And if it's at Wisconsin, Ohio State, Barry Alvarez team with Anthony Davis back is undefeated, and they don't give up much of anything defensively. But of course, Ohio State will be trying to rebound from their upset loss to Northwestern, so that'll be a dandy right behind us. Vince Young out in the flat, slipping down is Cedric Benson.
Is there a shifting in the Big Ten of the powers? Michigan might go down today. Ohio State already 1 loss to Northwestern. You've got Wisconsin, you've got Minnesota,
Purdue,
and old Purdue.
Yep. And Michigan is trailing. The last time Sam gave us an update, 24-17. It could be one of the huge wins ever for the Gophers under Glenn Mason. They had him on the ropes last year and let him off on a huge comeback in the second half. We'll see if they can hold on now again today. Second down and long. Young sidearms it out, complete, but immediately put down at the 32-yard line is Tony Jeffrey.
Yeah, see, that's what Texas is not doing defensively. When Oklahoma completes those short passes, Texas is missing the tackles. But Anya Nagutya comes up and makes the play. Right here.
There's Anya Nagutya. And he got him again.
You know what Texas was hoping for was a little catch and a run.
Yeah.
Not so.
Tony Jeffrey, I think, a little shaken up on that play after that hit. He's not in there right now. 3rd down and 6. Texas needs this one badly. Young on the roll. Now he's going to keep it. Puts his head down and drives for a first down near the 40. 8-yard run for Vince Young.
All right, they got to keep. They got, time is of a little bit of an essence here. Yep. They need 2 touchdowns.
Pretty soon you just got to wonder if, just for the sake of throwing deep. And there you see Jeffrey. They're working on his shoulder after he took that lift. If Texas is to get deep, maybe it's got to be David Thomas, the tight end. Somebody's got to get down the field pretty soon. Young going deep down the middle. And broken up. It was Scaife, the intended receiver. Both tight ends went deep. Yeah. But Rodney Poole's been all over the place today. Poole, who led this team in interceptions, was 7 a year ago. And he's coming off a 2-interception performance last week as the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. And he's been around the ball a lot today.
Well, he has. In fact, he has 9 interceptions his last 18 games, going back to last year.
There goes Scaife, the tight end.
Trying to get it right down the middle.
Close.
It's a good effort by Poole to go up for the ball where the tight end didn't.
2nd and 10. 6:23 to play. Texas needs a touchdown in a hurry. Young fakes it to Benson, keeps it himself, and Rufus Alexander's got him all tied up. Rufus Alexander, injured in the spring game of '03, didn't make it back until halfway through last year. And now out there is a starter on the outside, and he's had some big plays today. Now it's 3rd down and 10. Time is running out on the Longhorns. Under 6 to play. I know they don't want to play 2-down territory from their own 39, but they got to get one here pretty soon. Down the sideline. Great leaping catch by Lima Swede. First down, Longhorns. The 6'5" freshman went up and got it over Antonio Perkins.
The redshirt freshman, I think that's his first catch today. And they like this kid. Look how big he is. 6'5", just goes up over Perkins.
Longest play of the day for the Longhorns right there. To the 35 of OU. This kid's got the kind of size Roy Williams had when he was here.
Isn't he wearing his number 4? I don't remember.
Young waits, fires deep. Out there, broken up. Would have been a touchdown. Couldn't hold it. Nick Jones broken up by Rodney Poole again.
Could have caught it. Should have made the play. Just couldn't make it.
Let's get another update. Sam Ryan in New York. Sam, full of Maroney so far today. Longhorns have been sick of Adrian Peterson. Vince Young's in trouble. Fumble.
It looked like he tried to lateral to somebody in white, and it was an offensive lineman.
Sooners have it. Injured player on the field. I think Clint Ingram came up with the fumble. Perkins comes flying in, flushes Young. There goes the ball. And then there's a mad scramble out. And right about there is where it's recovered. Perkins is the guy that's shaken up on the play on the bottom of that pile right there.
Yeah, he didn't. Young never sees Perkins. He hasn't seen that blitzer from the right side all day long. And that's the one that started all the trouble.
So Vince Young not having the day he'd hoped for. That's for sure. And who knows, that might be the last chance that he'll get the football. And it might be the last chance for Texas to snap the losing streak against Oklahoma. With Perkins down, we'll take a break. Just under 5 minutes left in the ball game. Sure, a lot of Oklahoma fans are blue looking at Antonio Perkins as we welcome you back to the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. They work on the starting cornerback and punt return man. Texas hasn't been shut out in 24 years. That was against Baylor in November of '80. They're shut out right now with 4:58 remaining in the ball game. Kewan Jones on a toss sweep. Kewan Jones trying to hurdle one of his own blockers and tripped himself up. But he still got out to about the 47-yard line. And now Kewan a little bit gimpy, checking his leg as he goes back to the huddle. Don't forget, time permitting, John, Craig, and Aaron with a Thrifty Colorado postgame report. We'll have all the scores and the highlights from around the country. And they might have a final from that Big Ten game by the time we're done for you. About 3.5 minutes left of the Minnesota-Michigan game. Here, 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. And Oklahoma in front 12-0. Jones again. And again, he's hit. This time by Aaron Ross, knocked him off his pins as he dives out to the 49-yard line. And the rain starting to come down again.
It's been a battle, and you know, Bob Stoops said coming in, we expect a tough bit. This guy's been here, what? This is his 6th year.
Yep.
And he's been in the national championship game twice in those 6 years. In fact, he won the championship his 2nd year here.
In 2000.
I think they got a shot at getting back to that game again. I think they've got the offense, the special teams are there, and the defense has certainly played very well here today.
Well, he thinks they got a shot to get there. I'll tell you that much. He told us as much. Timeout with 3:32 remaining. That's what they'd like to play for. Still a lot of season left, but this would be a huge hurdle. So far, they're jumping over Texas 12-0. Back at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, 12-0. Sooners lead. Our Pacific Life game summary. Trey DeCarlo, the Sooners kicker, 22 and 26-yard field goals in this game. The Oklahoma defense has been superb, forcing 3 turnovers, making life rough for Vince Young and company. And then they have number 28. Is he the best to come down the pipe in a while? He might be. The freshman sensation, 228 yards rushing. And it's Oklahoma leading 12-0.
They didn't even need the Heisman Trophy winner.
Nope. He's in the shotgun right now on a 3rd down and 4. Rolls to his left, throws, intercepted. Nope, dropped. High up in the air was Cedric Griffin, but the ball hit the ground, I guess, on the way down. Boy, that would have been just what the doctor ordered for Texas to try to do something here.
As a big defensive play there. Who knocked it up? Allen? Yeah, Hall, 49.
Well, they're going to have to punt it anyway. They only ran about 1.5 minutes off the clock that time, did the Sooners, before Ferguson has to punt it away. Aaron Ross waiting on the other end. A special teams gem would be something that could possibly get Texas back in the ballgame because time is not on their side. 3:30, 3:27 actually left. And Ferguson drops it inside the 10, and Mark Bradley's down there to cover it. Let's check in with Lynn.
Well, Bob and Brad, several years ago, I was in the Orange Bowl when Oklahoma won that first national championship with Bob Stoops, and he won this trophy. Now, this is the ADT National Championship Trophy, and once again, as you can see by the men in orange, it'll be back at the Orange Bowl. Now, I also watched Oklahoma play LSU last year where they didn't win the national championship. What's the difference between last year and now? Intensity. These guys have a defense now that brings it from beginning to end, and an offensive line that I think is 200% better than they were last year, Bob and Brett.
Our buddies from the Orange Bowl standing down there flanking that trophy. Here's Cedric Benson. Broke a tackle, got across the 20, and a first down out to the 21-yard line.
Those guys from the Orange Bowl look good, don't they?
They do. They look good in those jackets. You got one of those.
Yes, sir. We're looking forward to it, too. I know all of Miami and South Florida is looking forward to hosting the national championship game again this year.
Vince Young out of the shotgun without a huddle. On a first down. Zips it down the middle, incomplete. Intended for Brian Carter as wide receiver. And wide receivers and Vince Young really have not been much of a hookup today.
No, they have not. That sidearm motion, I don't know if they're ever going to try and straighten him out or not, but that's the way he likes to throw it. Almost sometimes when he throws it, it's almost like he is decelerating some when he throws it.
Again, Texas hasn't been shut out in 24 years. Flag flies in with 2:55 left. Illegal substitution.
Substitution in practice. On the offense, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It looks like right now, unless something changed dramatically, that Mack Brown and Texas will lose for a 5th straight year to Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's been a tough week for him. Everybody asks the question, no matter how successful he has been, they always say this is a critical game, and that's a bunch of bull. I mean, the previous 14 years before Mack Brown's arrival, the 3 coaches, only twice did Texas win 9 or more games. With Mack Brown, they've won 9 or more every year, and they've won 10 or 11 the last 3 years. So to say that we're going to get rid of Mack Brown if he doesn't beat Oklahoma.
Oh, that's crazy.
The bottom line is Oklahoma has been pretty good the last 5 or 6 years.
You know what? The Longhorns are the 4th winningest team in the country in the last 4 years. Oklahoma is the winningest team in the country in the last 4 years. Had they not beaten Texas, those two would be flip-flop.
Yes. Just give both teams credit, and both coaches are at the top of their game.
Long pass down the sideline, incomplete, intended for Swede again. They got away with that on the last possession. Not this time. There's been a lot of coaches that have had trouble with main opponents, like Tom Osborne did for a while with Barry Switzer in Oklahoma. like Phil Fulmer did along the way. Well, he won a championship. He had trouble with Steve Spurrier. So sometimes you just have to survive it and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, it's like the Georgia-Florida rivalry.
Georgia's won about one of the last 16 of those babies.
Yes, Florida's won like 12 of the last 13.
Young in trouble. Comes out with it and runs, but he's short of the first down. And the Sooner Nation now knows.
There aren't many games like this anymore, Brad, where you play it on a neutral site. I think, like you mentioned, Florida and Georgia play in Jacksonville, and I think the only other neutral site is Army and Navy.
Right.
You know, UCLA and USC used to play in the Coliseum where you'd split the crowd, but I think there's only 3 venues now where they split the crowd, and the tradition is it's just great. The environment here in Dallas, the Cotton Bowl, the State Fair, everything.
Just on our arrival in here at about 8:15 local time this morning, it was already the circus atmosphere with a lot of thousands and thousands of people already here at the fair. There's Peterson running for his life. It's going to lose some of his career high as they run him out of bounds. He'll lose some yardage.
Well,
but you know, Adrian Peterson, we mentioned earlier, heavy recruiting battle between Texas and Oklahoma for his services, and the freshman from Palestine, Texas, said that he chose Norman over Austin because OU develops its players and competes for championships and Texas doesn't. Well, I don't know about that, but
yeah, how does he know that?
I don't know. That's his comment, though.
That's an 18-year-old high school senior saying that. How does he know? But
because one of those players from Oklahoma told him, probably.
Yeah.
And you just saw the card. Texas can't hold him. So it looks like in this game of Texas Hold'em that the Sooners have not only seen the flop, but they've got the river card for the 5th straight year again. And they've got 2 aces in the hole named Peterson and Jones.
Yeah, and Oklahoma did what they had to do. Bob Stoops and his staff just came in. They shut out Texas. They knew what they had to do. They knew they had to stop the run, stop Benson, and they did. Stop Vince Young, and they did. They knew it wouldn't be easy to score points. They just took them whatever way they got them. Wasn't pretty, but they won the ball game.
And it's step 1 of Showdown Saturday. You see the rest of the games we'll be seeing following us. Kewan Jones almost snapped it into the secondary as we work down near a minute and a half. Oklahoma's schedule, you start looking ahead now, and this one they're going to win. Kansas State's never easy to play in Manhattan. That Oklahoma State matchup again at Halloween looms pretty large.
Yeah, they have to go at Oklahoma State, at Kansas State, and at A&M.
So they're going to be 5-0 again.
They don't play Missouri, and they don't play Colorado.
Remember, the only team that beat top-ranked USC last year is the team they meet in the second game of our doubleheader today as well, and that's highly ranked Cal. And if Cal could pull the trick 2 years in a row, the team you're looking at right here would be the #1 team in the country on Monday morning. But that's a lot of football between then and now. But this unit is a pretty good outfit again. They've got the makings, the defense, the ground game, and that guy is head coach.
Certainly the coaching, yeah. He's always done a great job the last 5-6 years here. Got Bo Pelini now as one of his defensive coordinators along with Brent Venables. Chuck Long, his offensive coordinator, always does a good job. There's Bo.
Bo came over from Nebraska.
Brent
Venables was co-coordinator with Mike Stoops. Of course, Mike's the head coach now at Arizona. And he's improved that program already. 4th down and inches. This to sew up the ball game. And it will. Kewan Jones. So Texas is going to fall to 4-1. And here's what they have coming up. Missouri's tough. Texas Tech, that's an annual battle, and you know you're going to see the football in the air 100 times. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M on ABC, and that Thanksgiving weekend to wrap it up. but this one will be the one probably that will keep them out of Kansas City and the Big 12 championship. So for the Sooners and their fans, the greatest play in sports coming up. A kneel down by Jason White. Big play in the big house, we understand. Let's check in with Sam Ryan one more time.
And Brad, big play in the big house. Minnesota up by 4, less than 2 minutes to go. Wolverines, Chad Henley to Tyler Ecker. This one 31 yards. Michigan goes up by 3, 27-24, less than 2 to go.
Here we're down to the final play of the ball game. And for the 5th straight year, it'll be Oklahoma a winner over Texas in a hard-fought defensive struggle. A couple of field goals. Finally a touchdown for Oklahoma. And now the Sooner Nation celebrates in the Cotton Bowl. Last year there was close to a fight before the game, and now I think you see that these two teams who've been battling for over 3 hours have the mutual respect for each other, but they get to plant the OU flag one more time. Let's check in with Lynn.
Thank you, Brad. Coach, you said before this game started you'd know a few more things about your football team after this game. What'd you learn?
We have some character. We don't mind being in tight games. I think our defense is maybe a little better than people wanted to give them credit for. And I just still love the attitude we're running the ball with. And, so it's really appreciate our players and coaches. Our assistants did a great job.
Your defense has always played extremely well. But coming into this ball game, people anticipated Texas might have all kinds of blitzes. Excuse me, your offense is playing well. Texas might have all kinds of blitzes. They might threat you. Do you feel like you saw a whole lot that you didn't expect?
Well, we see about everything, and our offense goes against our defense all spring, all 2 days. We blitz about every way you can blitz, so they're pretty used to it, really. 32 carries, 225 yards for a true freshman in the Red River Shootout. That's a phenomenal performance. He's a great young man with a great attitude. He's only going to get better, and I know he appreciates those guys up front that were doing the work too.
Offensive line did a great job. You didn't start him. You wanted to bring him along carefully. How do you continue to use this man with also Juwan Jones in your backfield?
Well, we're just going to, like we did today, we're going to keep giving him the ball, and as long as we're able to run it and make people deal with it. And I'm sure, again, we'll have better days throwing, that we've shown it before. So it's a solid team, great group of kids we get to work with.
Coach, I know it's a win. At the end of the day, it's a win. But 5 consecutive wins against Texas in this game, that's huge.
I never look at it that way, Lynn. I take them one at a time. Nothing matters but this one, really. Each season it's its own entity, its own game, and that's kind of how I view them. So we've had some good fortune with the good run here. Texas is a good team. Really played, had a heck of a game today, and so we respect them as well.
Coach, as always, a pleasure to talk to you.
A lot better today than last time.
That was leaving the field in the BCS title game last year. That's what Coach Stoops is alluding to. The Big 12 South standings now look like this. Oklahoma atop the heap, perfect at 5-0, still the number 2 team in the country, and maybe even higher should Cal upset USC today. Texas falls to 4-1 and 1-1 in conference play. So as Bob Stoops says, this is a stepping stone, first to the Big 12 championship and then the national championship. And today's Chevrolet players of the game, number 28, the kid whose nickname is AD because he can run all day. Did he ever? Derek Johnson did his best to stop him. He led the Longhorns in tackles, but it wasn't enough. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. A star is born on the Norman campus, and he did it in style at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The 99th Red River Shootout goes to the Oklahoma Sooners. 5 straight wins. They win at 12-0. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. For Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan, I'm Brad Nessler saying so long from Dallas. Once again, our final score, Oklahoma 12, Texas nothing. First time Texas has been shut out in 24 years. Now let's head out to the State Fair of Texas to our buddies John Saunders, Craig James, and Aaron Taylor. Fellas.
Brad, thanks a lot. So a 12-0 win makes it 5 consecutive years, as you heard Brad say. Last time that happened was almost 20 years ago. But here's a question. USC faces Cal coming up. Some of you will see that here on ABC. Is USC the best team, or did we just watch the best team?
Well, you know, as an AP voter, which I am, there are 15 first-place votes out there for Oklahoma right now. I'm one of those voters who has Oklahoma at #1. I assumed their defense was as good as it was, but what I didn't realize was how good Adrian Peterson was against a very good Texas defense today.
What a different story it was this year. Oklahoma running the ball, being able to establish the line of scrimmage. Those guys absolutely wore the Texas defense out. Derek Johnson, great linebacker, flying over the place, but he was not enough to get it done. Oklahoma wore those boys out.
You mentioned Adrian Peterson. This guy had a game like you dream about. Whether you're a senior or a sophomore or junior, no matter what, you don't think about this as a freshman, though. He came out running. They got the ball to him. Over 200 yards rushing for Adrian Peterson.
And he broke tackles. This wasn't like he was running free and clear. Texas defense had a good strategy, but Peterson broke tackles, and that was the key in this deal. It wasn't like he had freebies. I mean, this was breaking and running hard. That set the tempo for the rest of those big guys up front.
I love it. As an offensive lineman, you kill to block for a back like that. He makes it fun to play offensive line. He is awesome.
Do you remember which one of us picked Texas to win this game?
Yeah, I think he said Texas.
I said it was with an F.
With an F. With an F. In a moment.